booked their place in the quarter-finals of the World Cup. Jude Bellingham scored 2 goals in 98 seconds in the first half. Captain Harry Kane scored a penalty shot. He told us he's proud of his teammates for digging deep.
Sworn in as an MP less than 24 hours ago, in 3 weeks' time is going to be running the country.
Yes, I think it is rather extraordinary. I think the issue isn't whether
Kick-off was delayed by now to 2 a.m. UK time. The sound of crowds at Box Park in Wembley, who stayed up by thousands and thousands more. We watched at home in pubs and stayed open until 5 a.m. England now play Norway on Saturday in Miami.
He's also talked about overhauling our
allergy pens will be stocked in every UK school from September. Teachers are also getting training to prepare for emergencies. Elsewhere, Nigel Farage claims the victim of an establishment job and has followed the rules. He's facing calls for an investigation over financial support given to him by convicted criminals. It's after reports George Cotterill also gave the reform UK leader use of a rented property.
We need to start demanding a general election.
And pharmacists say they are expecting and bracing for a surge in demand as the first weight loss pill goes on sale. The tablet form of Wegovy is available from today in some chemists, but there are warnings about criminals taking them. Dietitian Zoe Griffiths has said that people need to be careful buying them online. That's the very latest from
integral key role in this coup, and it is a coup because no one apart from 25,000 good people of Makerfield have voted for this guy. So he's played a pretty integral role in undermining Keir Starmer and Edmund Ballarby speaking. He could want a big reward, but he is probably the most left-wing person in the government, and he will spook the markets.
Lou Hay, I mean, the reality is, look, she served her time. She was cast out of government. The reality is, as you said, she has been central to his campaign. She was central to his campaign in Makerfield.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk. Common sense conversation to start your day. This is the Jeremy Kyle Breakfast Show.
Well, you know what? At 2 minutes past 6 on Monday, the 6th of July, nothing, not even Starmer, OK, not Burnham, not any of them lot, is going to dampen my spirits because I got up at 12 o'clock, I watched the whole goddamn game, and I have to tell you, hand on heart, whether you're a football fan or not, I'm 61 years of age tomorrow, and that is the best I've seen England play in my lifetime. Fantastic result against Mexico in the Azteca. What an astonishing 87,000 people, a referee who had no control, just astonishing scenes. Brilliant. Through to a quarter-final of the World Cup Saturday, 10 o'clock, of course, against Norway, and everything throughout this show reacting to that. Harry Redknapp will be here, our sister station TalkSport. Some incredible coverage. We'll do other stuff as well, but it got me thinking, right, today's going to be the biggest sick day ever. In the history of this country, today will be the biggest sick day. So, in the old days, like when I was working and you wanted a sick day, you had to go out in the corridor and go, just shh, got to phone the office, and you have to go, hello, I'm sorry, I won't be in today, I've got a sore throat. Now you just have to send an email. What's the best excuse, right? There will be a prize today. I'm not going to offer you a ticket to the quarter-final of the World Cup because I haven't got one. What's your best excuse? I'm not condoning it, but if you're phoning in sick today, what have you said? Have you been honest and gone, I've got a hangover, England won, you can shove your job where the sun don't shine? Or have you gone, I've got a sore throat, or, my tinnitus is playing up, or whatever? Just... Oh. It's coming. See? Lovely. I'm sorry about this, but I'm so excited. Just keep it on going. I've fallen completely into the trap where I think we're going to beat Norway, beat Argentina, and put one over the French and stop paying them 500 million quid. Come on, England! Oh, dear. There we go. I walked in the office and Christian went, well, I watched the second half, but I got up at 12, you see, because I thought it was 1, and they said it's not till 2. So then I thought, do I go back to bed or have a piece of toast? I had a piece of toast. But there you go. It was just astonishing. And driving in London, so many people out the streets, falling out the pubs. And I love the British. Fans complain that the BBC iPlayer keeps going down during the clash and that we could hear the pubs cheering the goals before they went in. Brilliant. OK. What do you make of all my friends proud to be English? Are we allowed to be English and proud this morning, are we? Fly your flag. 0344 499 1000, text to 87222. We will put your voice... Let's get the first voice note of the day on. Come on. Who's going to make it? 0344 499 1000. If you are calling in sick, what is the excuse you're using? We will award a prize to the best excuse. We're all here, of course we are. In other news, Nigel Farage today firing back over yet another donation round. Reform insists it's done nothing wrong, saying this is an attack by the establishment because we've led in 334 opinion polls and they are terrified of what a reform government will do. The Tories have joined in the attack. They say there could well be a recall of his seat in Clacton and they're going to target that. I'd love to know where you stand on this. I think everybody, you know, has a right to an opinion on this. Is this an establishment job, a bit like the Trump thing in America? Does Farage have a lot to answer for, or are you steadfast in your support of reform and see this as the mainstream media and the establishment in its entirety doing a job on a man who has been out on the forefront for 23 years, and yeah, he's under attack, and maybe there's a couple of things that anybody could do. I don't know that, but what I do know is there is absolutely no doubt that as it gets nearer and nearer to a general election, the man's popularity is going to come under scrutiny. 0344 499 1000. NATO. That man, see, I have to say it's going to annoy me, see, Keir Starmer, in one of his final acts as Prime Minister before he loses out, he's off to the NATO summit in Turkey at the end of the week where he thinks he's going to get a roasting from Donald Trump. Imagine if Keir Starmer grew a pair and just said to Trump, you can shove it up your backside, I don't give a toss what you say, I'm out of here in 2 weeks, you can take it out with AB. Mr. Burnham. And also, I'm sick of this story, Christian, but we've done it again. No disrespect. Police have been told to ditch the woke culture wars and get back to catching criminals. Who thought that was the police's job? I did. The report says the service has a serious leadership problem and is facing accusations of nepotism, cronyism and a shallow talent pool. Nepotism, cynicism and a shallow talent pool. Sounds like the Jeremy Kyle breakfast show, doesn't it? Also, disturbing reports this morning of Jewish revellers being abused at London Pride, fresh political pressure over deporting the Rochdale ringleader, and Keir Starmer. Delusion? The plan was right. I just needed a bit more time to make it work. 0344 499 1000. Ladies and gentlemen, a woman who patently didn't stay up for the football. She was probably making furniture while her boyfriend, she served him nachos, probably with all of his mates while he was watching it. Poppy Coburn, tell me you watched it.
Yeah, I was going to say you're completely wrong.
Did you stay up all night?
So I didn't stay up. I didn't stay up to watch it, but I woke up.
When?
So I think about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
I woke up because I could hear my boyfriend getting up to go to the pub because he was too excited to stay in our flat.
I love the fact that he gets up and leaves you again to go to the pub.
I know. So I could hear him because I think he was listening to it on the radio and he found it too exciting. And then I can go out to sleep. So I texted him and said, where are you? I'll come. So I did actually go see it towards the end.
Did you go to the pub and you're drunk? You're pretty, so you are hungover.
No, I am sadly very sober.
What did you have? Did you not have a drink?
I had a half pint.
Of what?
Beer.
You drink beer? You
of course I drank beer.
Proper bird. Sorry, woman, lady, whatever. That's brilliant.
I'm English.
I'm English.
But yeah, it was fantastic. Look, I can't say I know the most about football in the world or even anything at all, but God, that was fantastic. It was so exciting.
It was so English, and I have to say, maybe there are people who aren't football fans, right? There was not. It's really weird. I watched it on my own. The in-laws downstairs, cup of tea, loved it, right? There wasn't one moment when I didn't think we were going to win. We looked to have the whole game plan looked to me to work. Keeping them quiet the first 20 minutes. But everybody, to a man, just threw themselves at everybody. Fantastic. I hope it doesn't take out too much. I was talking to Gabby Abonglehall from talkSPORT, and he was saying they need to rest up now because that at altitude was but I mean, amazing. Absolutely incredible. And that does something for this goddamn country, doesn't it?
It does. I think everyone, I heard you earlier saying everyone's going to be very sleepy today. It's true. A lot of people are going to be calling in sick. But because we won, is kind of this buoyant mood in the air, isn't it? Everyone feels positive. If we had lost the game, we'd all be really tired and hungover and also miserable.
There is a postscript to the thing, and this is actually quite sad. Have you heard about Jordan Henderson?
No, what's this?
I think this will be a question on Question of Sport or in 20 years' time. Jordan Henderson was selected for the squad, really more as a motivator, but maybe to go on for a few minutes at some point. Hasn't played a minute yet. Was booked for standing on the sidelines and cheering on England by the referee, and then joined in the celebrations. Do not smile. Joined in the celebrations and fell over the advertising hall backwards, and I think has broken his wrist and will have to be sent home.
That is quite unfortunate, isn't it?
This is an absolute first for the Jeremy Kyle breakfast show. Let me know if you're just getting in from the pub. Have we ever been able to say that? So I want the best story from the pub, your story of the night. And if you are throwing a sickie, do you want me to ring your boss? Just tell me your best excuse. 0344 499 1000. Text to... Your boyfriend, is he still in the pub?
No, he's come back home, but he was very excited.
How many drinks did he have?
I think he had about 4.
Did he?
Which is quite impressive to manage that in an hour.
Is he going to work?
Oh, he is going to work, in theory. In theory.
A bit of a lefty, though. He probably
he's probably... Well, he does half days anyway, most of the time.
He's a lefty, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never, ever been able to say this again on this breakfast show. Let me know if you're just getting in from the pub. How was your night? England through to the quarterfinals of the World Cup, Saturday, 10 p.m. What a night that's going to be against Norway. All of the action and reaction on talkSPORT, our sister station, but just a fantastic achievement. Oh, shut up. Gaza in Lower Chapel. Shut up about the bloody football, Carl. A few days ago, everyone was moaning about a crap performance against Congo. Fickle football fans. I get why you're happy. Those supporting West Ham hardly makes you happy, does it? All right, Mr. Misery Guts, can't we try and be happy?
Hey, have you got a Mexican fan that's just written in there?
Stu Parker, You're My Wonder Wall. That's become the song. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
You probably don't remember the 90s, do you?
I wasn't alive in the 90s.
You weren't
did it even
alive.
exist?
Do you know what tomorrow is?
When's that?
61 tomorrow, mate.
Oh, dear.
Oh, that's not very nice.
61?
Yeah, do I look 61?
What do you want me to say?
I'll show you something. I'm gonna put this on. I'm gonna put this. I don't have any pride. My daughter. I had all the family down, right? And this is terrible. And I fell asleep on the beach, and they took a picture, and they've AI'd it to how I'd look when I'm 85. I don't have any pride. Put that on the zoom in on that. Look at that.
That's not fair. You've gained about 3 stone.
I've gained about 3 stone. I mean, honestly, the Botox hasn't worked, does it? Look at that. It's absolutely, can't even see it. Anyway, there we go. Yeah, look really old. Anyway, there we go. So let's move on. So, yes, for a first on our show, if you've just got in from the pub, tell us what you're up to. Tell us how it's going. So much in the news, though. Other news as well as England. Nigel Farage.
Yeah.
Everybody... has an opinion. Everybody, it seems, has a story. It started with this £5 million donation from the crypto billionaire, Harborne, who's now registered to vote. He obviously, I think, said, I've done nothing wrong because this was before I became an MP. The Standards Committee and the Commons are looking. Over the weekend, another donation row. A sidekick, when I say sidekick, a good friend of his, George Cotter, who I know well, Posh George. Donations from him that were also apparently should have been whatever. This guy's got a criminal record. The Tories are jumping on the bandwagon and target his Clacton seat. Let me read this from Sean in Gloucester. Seems the establishment, JK, have started Project Fear Mark II against Farage. They can see their gravy train is at risk and they don't like it, but the silent majority are fed up with all the insanity and want a normal but successful person as PM that puts us first for a bloody change. Yeah. Listen, whatever you think, it's not for me to say... I don't know about the donations, but I'm absolutely with Sean in Gloucester.
Yeah.
The harder and the nearer that Nigel Farage and Reform get to the winning line, even if they don't get an overall majority, it is unheard of to go from 5 seats to potentially 250. And trust me, I know enough to tell you that the establishment will stop at nothing. I'm talking about the BBC, I'm talking about the mainstream media, I'm talking about absolutely everybody. Yeah. That is not me... I don't know the truth, right? I don't know whatever. I saw Jenrick yesterday saying no rules have been broken. Let's be fair. The Tories, the Reform Party today saying Nigel's done nothing wrong, it's an establishment hit job. Your thoughts?
Well, first of all, let's start with some context, because what I found really shocking about these unfolding, allegations against Nigel Farage is that it's Labour and the Conservatives who are throwing their hands up in the air and saying, how awful is this? Isn't this appalling? How dare Nigel Farage do this? Let's not forget, this Labour government began with Lord Ali's donation scandal, where a man who was donating directly to politically affected officials was allowed to pick the selection of Labour MPs who had great influence over the direction of the party. So he literally paid, I'm sorry, it seems like it, he paid and then he got influence. So let's put that on the table. Leaving aside even the Peter Mandelson job, where, again, another seriously unsavoury individual who actually had great political influence and was best friends with a paedophile. So there's Labour. Now let's talk about the Tories. The Tories for years, and everyone who has ever worked within right-wing media can tell you this, have been more than happy to give influence over to people who donate to their party. Look at the House of Lords. Look at the people that the Conservatives have been putting in the Lords for years, including, by the way, a very wealthy Russian businessman who's Lord Lebedev of Siberia. They were very happy to put him in the House of Lords.
Absolutely.
So they are turning around and now saying, Nigel Farage, look at him, look how dirty he is, look how dirty his party is. This is someone who's given up 25 years of his life to fight against the establishment, who has got more death threats than any other politician. You don't hear that in the news. Seriously, every single year he gets death threats from people. Serious
I didn't know that you were going to say this. It's slightly more difficult for me and less difficult for you. I can tell you categorically, ladies and gentlemen, that everything that Poppy is saying is absolutely spot on. Daily death threats and no support from the government. Daily death threats.
I mean, there was a man with an AK-47 tattooed on his face who came over here on a small boat, said he wanted to kill Nigel Farage. That's what he's dealing with, and that's just what we know about in the media. So if he has taken this money before he was an MP from someone where there is no suggestion whatsoever that he's changed his opinion, OK, Nigel Farage has been completely consistent politically
for 25
years. For 25 years, for as long as I've been alive. He's known this person, a friend of his, for a very long time. This is not cash for questions. This is not cash for access, OK? This is someone basically saying, you're a friend and I need to support you because the state isn't stepping in and you're getting death threats. He can do with that money as he pleases, frankly. So with the George Cotwell story, again, all in the public domain, this stuff. You know, I was listening over the weekend. I was getting nostalgic about Brexit, and I was listening to Michael Crick's biography of Nigel Farage. All of the stories that the Times is breaking as exclusive this weekend, and the BBC is running on as exclusive breaking news, is already out there. We've known this for years. Why is it coming up now? Why is it being repackaged now as breaking news?
Listen, I couldn't agree anymore. I'm not in the process of defending anybody who's in the wrong, but I do know, because I've some involvement, I do know categorically that there is a concerted effort, OK? And that to me, is down to fear. That's as much as I know. But every single person in the public eye, in politics, needs to be transparent. But, you know, glass houses and, you know, people in them springs to mind. I'd love to know your opinion this morning. I mean, we have a lot of people on this station who listen to this station who would support reform, who see it as the last chance. Don't do these stories from the right-wing media. Do these stories. I mean, I think Poppy's just nailed it. That should be played all day, what she's just said, because it's absolutely spot on. Does it change your view of Nigel Farage? Does it change your view of reform? 0344 499 1000. This was Robert Jenrick yesterday questioned, was it on Koonsberg, was it, I think, about Farage and Posh George. Have a watch.
I honestly don't see what the story is here, other than just yet another attempt by certain parts of the media to try and muckrake about somebody who is actually trying to shake up the system and challenge the status quo.
Couldn't agree more. 0344 499 1000. Roger in Wales. Farage has proved he can get investment into reform, which only shows he will easily get investment into the UK when in power. We expected this witch hunt, but nobody cares what dirt they try and bring up. We are with Farage 100%. John, just say, sorry, I can't come in today. I've woken up inside what can only be described as a group-wide state of national overconfidence. I've been instructed by my nervous system to stay at home until the delusion settles. We think that's a particularly good excuse for staying off work. Dale, you've got a sickness excuse, Dale?
Hi, Jezza. Looks like it's going to be a great show again. I'm an employer, and I've been for quite a while. I've had loads of excuses, but these are the two belters over the years. This is not the employer ringing in, this is the mother ringing in for the employer. So-and-so will not be in today because he's got sickness and gonorrhea. That's one of them. Another one, so-and-so will not be in today, he's got meningitis. But I think he'll be in tomorrow. He's looking better already. Cheers, Jezza. Great show.
Sickness and gonorrhea, make your own bits up. What's your best excuse? I mean, we'll talk about Farage, we'll talk about lots, but this is the first breakfast show we've ever been able to say in the history of talk. Let me know if you're just getting in from the pub, because the pubs have been open all night. England through to the quarterfinals of the World Cup. Your best excuse, hello, he's got sickness and gonorrhea. You're too young to remember what, because I saw this sketch with Peter Kay, and it's so right, and the old dish, shh. shh, got to ring the office, and you go out in the hall and you'd be like, hello, I've got a... Shush, put my sick voice on. I've got a sore throat, but I might be in on Tuesday. Honestly, you've never done that. Your generation, you just... What do you do? Send an email? I'm sorry, I'm not feeling up to it. I'm feeling anxious. I'm getting...
No. If you're pulling a sickie, this is the one rule of pulling a sickie.
Okay.
You've got to call.
Oh, you've got to call.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you, Poppy Kerwin, ever put a voice on to get a day off?
Absolutely.
Go on,
when I was a teenager, when I used to go out
voice,
drinking...
then? Do your sick voice.
Oh, let me see if I can do it. It's been a few years since I've been doing
voice.
this.
Here we go.
Hello. I just really don't feel well today.
Oh,
you always want to sound like you're crying.
You sound like you're going to cry.
Exactly.
How was it?
Because it's just the pain is so overwhelming.
Oh, right. Okay.
And often I was on the verge of tears because I was so hungover I really couldn't go into work.
I'd like your best sicky voice on a voice note, please. What's your best sicky... Hello, Jez, I don't feel well. 0344 499 1000. So if you're just coming in from the pub... let us know about your night watching England. If you are having a sickie, what's the best excuse you've ever heard? And also, I'd like to hear the best sickie voice. That would be brilliant. Dave Shine. Nice. We all know by the time the next election comes around that Nigel will be responsible for the grooming gang, says Dave. Yeah, do you know what? Probably. Hi, JK. This establishment attack, they're so desperate. We'll always vote Reform UK. Tories just as bad as Labour joining. This will make Reform UK more powerful. Bring on an election, a general election, says Christina. Jason's in Worthing. Great result for England. I'm not a real football supporter, but I love my country. One thing I'm not looking forward to, if the progress, is the politicians jumping on the back of their success. Politicians who hate the national flag getting out there and pretending they love it. Absolutely. Joanna from Salisbury. Hi, Jez. I did the double, the 250th American anniversary and the football. I've got to peel a teenager out of bed for college this morning. At least they won nothing worse than a tired, grumpy... That's true. Tired, grumpy teenagers and stroppy women at work. 03... You're not stroppy, though, are you?
I'm not going to be stroppy.
And stroppy men, I should say that. 0344 499 1000. Listen, it's 6:21. We're live across the UK. Fantastic result overnight. Britain, have you got a hangover? I think you probably have. It's expected to be the sickest sick day in the history of sick days. So we'd like to know if you've just come in from the pub, what excuse you might use to get a day off, and I want the best sick voices. Morning, Jess. Still awake, but no pub. Few tinnies and one for breakfast, lad. Back to work Tuesday. Have a fantastic day. Jezza, says Sharon Huff. Happy birthday week, Jezza. Honestly, I don't want to talk about it because tomorrow's going to be... 61. I got that letter the other day from the...
What's from the King?
No. Oh, very funny you are, aren't you? No, I got that letter saying, when you're 67, your old age pension will start. You get a warning, apparently. It's not funny. Don't look...
Sorry, that is a good one.
Do I look 61?
Again, do you want me to answer that?
Yes.
Yeah, you could be 51. You could be 51.
So I don't look 61?
No, yeah, you could be 10 years younger.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
You couldn't. 0344 499 1000, 6:22. Back in 3 on Talk Breakfast.
Principled and peerless. The Jeremy Kyle Breakfast Show.
The thing that most makes me angry about Keir Starmer talking about the need to defend our country, and he's gone out of his way to not make the tough decisions to actually do the thing to defend our nation. It's cowardly, and I think it's treacherous.
Nothing to say on immigration, nothing to say on benefits, nothing to say on jobs, nothing to say on tax.
And in London, in
Enfield, if this is the solution the country's been waiting for, then we are in a very, very bad place.
People up and down the country are asking why they are always being put second. They work every day, they get up, they pay their bills, they look after their kids, and yet the other side of the social contract is not being held up. 28 for Tingley.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back, 6:25. We're live across the UK. Talk Breakfast is on, and Poppy Coburn and Jeremy Carr till 7 o'clock. I've got to tell you, Britain's celebrating. Even Poppy went to the pub and had half a pint at 4 a.m. England beating Mexico, I nearly got that right, Mexico, in the Azteca Stadium. 87,000 baying Mexicans. They did it in high altitude, high temperatures. Absolutely fantastic. And for the first time in the history of this breakfast show, we're able to say, let us know if you've just got in from the pub. I'm going to keep repeating that. It's brilliant, because pubs have been open until 5. England fans going crazy. Are you phoning in sick? Because today's supposed to be the sickest day for sickness in the history of sick days for sickness. We also think it'd be great if you could just give us your sick voice. You tried.
Mine would be
rubbish. I can't come in today.
That's quite good. Really sounds like you've got the Black Death, actually.
The Black Death. Brilliant, brilliant. Ben, good morning.
Morning, Jeremy. Ben from Birmingham. Worked nights last night, so listened to the game in my truck. I'm not a massive football fan, but what a fantastic evening. Nigel Farage, I couldn't care less if he's taken the 5 million under what circumstances. Every single politician in there earns like maximum of like 80, £100,000 a year, £150,000 a year if it's the Prime Minister, and somehow they all tend to be millionaires. They're just a bunch of hypocrites. They're running scared. I actually prefer Rupert Lowe to Nigel, but I'd take Nigel Farage over any of them any day.
Interesting. 0344 499 1000. The other big story is Nigel Farage today firing back over yet another donation row. Reform insists it's done nothing wrong. It's an establishment hit job. The right-wing, to be fair, mainstream media and the left-wing media, to be fair, the BBC are all jumping on the bandwagon and trying to say that this man's got money coming in left, right and centre. I want to know from you. A lot of Reform viewers and listeners would say this. I thought what Poppy said just now was astonishing. You know, he probably needs to come and fight back, and I'm sure he will do that. But I want to know if this affects what you think about a man who undoubtedly has them rattled. 0344 499 1000. Kate, good morning.
Good morning, Jezza. It's only 10 to 6, but I really, really hope that you have done what you said, stayed up all night to watch the match, because I'm really looking forward to today's programme. I turned on at 2:30, not expecting to see as much of the game as I did. Obviously, the rain did me a favour, because I got to see more of it. Out with the dogs now, been up since 2:30. What a day. Bring on Saturday. So excited. Kate Wirral.
Come on, Kate in the Wirral, you see. And just if you are tuning in, Poppy Coburn, Deputy Content Editor of The Telegraph, has come in. She hasn't thrown a sickie. She was in the pub. She says she had half a pint. We've got secret footage that she had about 5. I reckon you had more than half a pint.
No, I only had half.
Why?
Because I turned up late and I was like, I can't actually drink a pint and go back to sleep. I'm not a bloke.
Why is it that I think that I imagine you drink pints and you roll up cigarettes and you sit in the corner?
I used to.
You definitely a rolled up cigarette person.
I used to be a rolly cigarette and Stella. person. I used to drink Stella, yeah, seriously.
Nigel Farage is in the news as well. The establishment says Jeff are terrified of Farage and reform. The government even took his security away. Shame on them. We had MPs murdered and the government did what is sometimes, in my opinion, called disgusting. Margaret's in Birmingham. JK and Poppy changed my opinion on Nigel. No way. She says it proves that this country needs reform more than ever. 100% behind him. Yes, there is mud being thrown at Farage. I don't know who this is, but anyone who thinks he's going to tear down the establishment is sadly deluded. He won't be able to do it. Sorry I can't make it in today. This is from Sharon. I started walking down the road to work and an England flag dropped down from a lamppost, wrapped itself round my head. I fell backwards into the road and got hit by an e-bike, but I should be back after the final. Brilliant. That's fantastic. It's my favourite. Let's go to Paddy on the phones in Hampshire. Paddy, good morning.
Good morning, Jezza. Good morning, the lovely Poppy. First things first, I'm older than you, Jezza. Believe it or not, you can live beyond 61. I'm 67 coming up.
You don't sound great, though, do you, for another 6 years? What?
Yeah, I live in a purpose-built veterans accommodation, and some of the poor veterans still have wives, and they wouldn't let them watch the game this morning, so they came to mine. They came to mine, and I'm not a football fan, I'm a rugby guy.
Good boy.
But they had a wonderful evening. They've all trooped off now after trashing my flat, which is wonderful.
How many drinks did you have?
Well, I think I had a bottle of wine. But the guys, when they trooped off, a few of them, because I'm a huge reform supporter, they talked about Nigel and these alleged bungs and what have you, and nobody cares.
Listen, that's the feeling I'm getting this morning. The mainstream media do. I think Poppy nailed it. Great to have you on, my friend, and had all his mates around. Paddy did. Had a bottle of wine. Can you do a sick voice if you are phoning into work today? If you were trying to get off the day, if you weren't 67 and past it, can you do a voice for us?
I wish I could go to work. Unfortunately, I'm much older than you, young Jezza, and the truth is, I'm happily retiring into a world of Reform UK, because that's our next government.
Good man, Paddy in Hampshire. We love you. Thank you. Keith is in Scotland. Hi, Jez. Farage should have seen this coming. He needs to be whiter than white and ahead of the game, knowing the left and the left-wing media are out to destroy him. Yeah, I guess you probably can say that. I think that's a fair point. Simon, good morning.
Morning, Jez. Just on my way to work. Simon here from Rubery. I'm just going to give you my sick voice. Oh, I can't make it in today. Oh, God. I think I'm dying. I'll be in tomorrow.
There's a prize for the best sick voice today. The reason being, Britain's hungover. The pubs were open till 5. You're just coming in. How are you getting off your day at work if you are? What's the best excuse? Can we please have your sick voice? 0344 499 1000. I'm thinking of getting them through the glass to do a sick voice, but they're all very scared of the limelight. Have you noticed that?
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, they don't like being... Look. They don't like being... I mean, you can understand why they don't like being on camera.
Breaking the fourth...
Camera.
Oh, how rude.
Well, it adds £10. That's the end, isn't it?
You're worried it adds 10 years to you, aren't you?
She's half a pint at 3 a.m. and Poppy Coburn's got the gob on. Morning, Tony.
Morning, Jez. I'm sorry to call so early, mate. I'm supposed to be in at around 6:30 this morning. To be honest, I'm off and on the loo. I'm just not going to be able to make it, mate. But in all honesty, I'm fine and I'm in work. But I just thought I'd drop in with my attempts at a sick call. Have a good day, buddy.
And you, Tony. Rob, please, Jez, don't mention... I've just tuned in. Please don't mention the result. I've watched it. I'm watching it. I've recorded it later. Tough. England won 3-2. 1 red card, 2 penalties. It was fantastic. What are you telling me? You're watching it later. Should have got up to support the team. Poppy was in the pub.
Even I did.
Poppy was in the pub.
Even I did.
I had a cup of tea, though.
You had a cup of tea?
Well, I'm at home with the in-laws. It was fine. That lovely big television, sat there on the sofa, enjoying it on my own, in my pants. I was sat there in my pants, thinking, this is OK.
What, with your in-laws?
Yeah, well, they're upstairs asleep, but it was quite hot.
I thought you meant you were sat there with your pants
off. That's right. I'm sat there with my mother-in-law in my pants at 2 a.m. It's a really weird life I have. 0344 499 1000. Gary's in your morning, Jez and Pops. Best sickie I got as an employer was I couldn't come in because they've moved the bus stop yesterday and I couldn't find it. Jezza, the as ordained by you miserable git here. Oh, this is Dave H. Scratch it. See what I did there? Nothing that whoever it was won with only 10 players. What? Oh, noticing that whoever it was won with only 10 players. What happened? Did someone break a nail or trip over some grass? Says Dave, the miserable git. No, we fought courageously against the might of Mexico in front of 87,000 baying Mexicans and we won, you miserable git. Jez, I arose this morning from my slumber so fast to get to work, I now have to spend the rest of the day in a decompression duvet. That's absolutely brilliant. Morning, Jez and Pops. Great result this morning for the England team. Will Andy Burnham try and tax the euphoria now that we have after the result as they're blinking taxing everything else? Just a thought, says Joe, who's already seen the light and lives in Thailand. We haven't talked about Andy Burnham. Let's get back to Farage. Many of you phoning in support, some people critical. Love to know what you think. This is because over the weekend, another donation row. This involves a friend of his, George Cottrell, who made his money in cryptocurrency. He served some time in America for a fraudulent act, did his time. The Reform Party and Farage in the Express this morning saying that there's nothing to see, and this is before I became an MP. This is an establishment hit job. The Tories are jumping on the bandwagon, as are Labour, demanding a recall in Clacton. You don't think that's going to happen, though, do you, Pops?
No, absolutely not. I think if the establishment tries to go down the legal route and do what they did to Donald Trump, what they did to Marine Le Pen, and try and, on procedural grounds, block a democratically elected official from taking their seat in Parliament, that is the biggest possible mistake they could make. OK, the people of Clacton voted for Nigel Farage. This is not a reason to block him from that role. And you know, I said before, there's wider context to this. I think I may as well add a bit more. Do you remember Louise Hay, who's now probably being brought back to the front line of government? Yeah, I remember her. She's got a new haircut now, but she's still here, still the same person.
I mean, in the cabinet next week. Why did she lose her job?
Yeah, funny that one. So it was
fraud. That's right, fraud. Convicted fraudster.
Yes, yeah. But it's fine though, because the thing is, she's a part of the establishment parties, and when they do something wrong, it's actually fine.
So wasn't that the same party where the corruption minister is being charged with corruption in Bangladesh, and the homeless minister was found to be renting out private properties for exorbitant rates? This is also the party that, as you quite rightly say, gave the most senior civil service job, the American ambassador, to a man who we knew was the biggest friend of the world's most notorious paedophile.
Yeah, Peter Mandelson, of course. Peter Mandelson, whose checkered history has been going back for decades
I just wanted to check out
and obviously let's not forget Lord Ali, like the big-ticket Labour donor who was buying the Prime Minister's wife.
I heard somebody over the weekend say, well, it's not to the same scale. Farage got 5 million. We just got some free suits and glasses.
Brilliant. So they're bad negotiators.
Yeah,
not only are they bent, they're also bad at it. Brilliant. Well, that really makes me want to support the establishment parties. No, the thing is, it's just maybe I could believe some of the outrage from these people if they were whiter than white, but they're not.
Do you know what I would do if I was Nigel Farage? And I've said this on this show for a long time. I believe that the majority of people in this country are so fed up with the establishment, so fed up of the same misery and up and down politics, that what they want is somebody to stand in front of them. I've said that you can go back in the records and go, right, here I am. I've been married 3 times, I've got 6 kids, I'm sure I've made a few mistakes, sacked a few people, probably drank a bit too much and smoked. I once had a loan from here, I did. Because all of these politicians, if you try and appear... I don't think the British people give a toss anymore. They just want effective politicians. And Trump proved that in America. And we were talking about it privately. I'm sure Nigel will. I'd get on the front foot and say, I want to talk about why this country's on its arse. That's what I want to talk about.
Absolutely.
Genuinely believe that.
And again, I hate this game that's being played where it's like all allusions to something. So it's not actually coming out and saying what you think. Do these people think that Nigel Farage has been bought? Can they prove that? Can they prove that any of this money has ever changed any of his political positions on anything? Because from where I'm looking, he has been the most consistent political figure of my lifetime. You know what Nigel Farage thinks. When you say his name, love him or hate him, you know what he believes. He can't be bought. I'm sorry, it's just but that is the illusion that people are trying to make here, and they let everyone else get away with it. All these other politicians who have been professional politicians their entire lives, who are like, look at Keir Starmer. You know, when he does Desert Island Disc, there's nothing to him. He's been focus grouped into oblivion.
What about when Boris Johnson called out Keir Starmer as the Director of Public Prosecutions with overall responsibility? You let Jimmy Savile through the net, and when he brought it up in the Commons, the establishment, you can't say that. Well, you can, because you basically, quite rightly, as it turned out, turned on Boris Johnson, who was in charge of Downing Street during the lockdown and all those parties, and we've had that debate again and again. If you're in charge of every single prosecutor in this country, and Jimmy Savile slips through your net, then I think you should be responsible for that. I'm not. Listen, none of us here are blindly supporting something that we don't believe in. I'm telling you that what you said is absolutely right. Nigel Farage has had the same opinions, and if these stories are aimed at anything, can they prove that taking donations has changed his political
Before
stance?
he was an MP? Before he was an elected MP?
Not at all.
What I just want to know is, who decides who leads Britain? Is it the people who go out and vote? Or is it some shadowy committee of people who get to decide on ethics and standards? That is the question.
Yeah.
It's the same question America asked last year. Who gets to lead America? Do we decide, or do you decide? Do you people who run the courts decide? Do you people get to choose who's going to be our next leader? And I think the American people answered with a resounding no. We, the voters, get to pick who leads our country because we live in a democracy. And the same question we put for British voters. Who do you want to lead? The establishment who get to pick things and have made a real rotten mess of it, or you? Do you want a change or not? And that is this story to me. You know, you look at the details of this, fine. You can disagree with it. You can disagree with Nigel Farage as a politician. Of course you can. I don't agree with him on everything. But as a man, what are they doing to him? Why are they going for him after the local elections? You've got to put your thinking cap on and realise what these people are trying to do. I find it absolutely appalling, because that's what it is. It's a naked smear.
It's brilliant. You're absolutely spot on. Also, a couple of other stories. Actually, you should read some of this. Mark's got a sickie. This is brilliant. What's your sickie for being off today, Marky?
Morning, Jez. It's Mark. I can't come in today. I myself on the bus on the way in, so I've had to come back home again, and my guts are absolutely killing me. Oh no, I can't come in. I should be all right to come in tomorrow though.
I don't want you to come in if you pooped your pants. What's the matter with you, man? Honestly, you're fired. You're disgusting.
He's going to get a toilet card like you've got.
I taught my daughter that little song, I pooped my pants in the middle of Aldi. I only went in to get some Garibaldi. I dropped a log right next to the pasta. I've been banned from Aldi, so I've got to shop at Asda.
Thanks for sharing that with me.
She's only 2. It's brilliant. Aldi. Asda. Morning, Jez. Morning, Pops. I'm sorry I can't come into work today. I took a Viagra tablet last night and I can't even turn over to get out of bed. There's Tony. Oh, I love it. I love it. It is because today is supposed to be the most popular sick day in the history of the world. England through to the quarterfinals of the World Cup. Great result overnight against Mexico. I want to say Mexico. And as a result, the pubs were open till 5. Everybody seems to be out. So for a first in our breakfast shows ever, we're able to ask, let us know if you're just getting in from the pub, and let us know the best sickie line you've ever heard or your sickie voice. Hi, JK and the lovely Poppy. I've messaged many times. Farage has no intention of sitting in cabinet. He will go to the Lords or something will happen. Generally, could become the leader. That's from Rich, don't know. JK and Poppy, I don't care what money is Farage has been given. The MP should follow Farage and give up their expenses account, as he never claims for anything. Bill in Romsey. Hi, Jezza. Regarding Farage and his assets, I don't care how many properties he owns. If he owned every property in the country, that would at least prevent any properties becoming HMOs for immigrants. Jobs are good. And Joe from Shrewsbury. Morning, Jez. Baz in West Brom. Sorry, I won't be into work today. I've just come out of the pub and I can't find my car properly, which is probably a good thing, as I'm too pissed to drive it.
That's a good one.
Oh, my God. Bill in Cheshire. England win. Fantastic. Still...
Are you doing your own sick note?
What?
You're doing your own sick note live on air.
I can't come into work today. My digestive went down the wrong hole. I must learn about this whole biscuit thing. Why are you frowning at me? I can't help it. England win, fantastic. Still have doubts about Tuchel, but weak and woke Gareth Southgate could never have got a performance like this from an England team. Tim's in Taunton. Don't laugh at me, I'm crying. Hi, Jez. If we had Facebook, social media, etc. during the Second World War, then Churchill wouldn't have lasted 2 minutes. Nigel is our only hope to save this bloody country, and nothing will change that in my mind. Craig in Lincoln. Morning, Jez. Couldn't watch the game as I need to fly a plane to Los Angeles airport? What, just because you're... Is he a pilot? I presume he's a pilot, because it'd be quite strange if he wasn't. Regarding the Farage story, it only deepens my resolve as a Reform member. This is just desperate stuff from people scared of losing their grip on power and the gravy train. Morning to David. Poppy, Jez, sorry I won't make it into work this morning. Unfortunately, I was awoken by the fire alarm in the small hours this morning due to my video recorder catching fire. I'd said to record the England game as I went to bed as normal. Unfortunately, I've had no sleep as I had to deal with the emergency and I won't be fit enough to come to work today. No one was hurt, but my house is a mess. I hope you will understand, says David. Brilliant. I mean, that's actually quite... I mean, I bought that.
I think the more complicated, the better sometimes, because once you get someone into a story, you know, they're already half listening to you.
Somebody sent me one once when we were doing this some time ago on a radio show, I can't remember, and they said that they'd done their homework, but they'd used a fountain pen or the piece of, or a report for work, it wouldn't dry, the ink, so they'd left it by the window and a gust had taken it out, right? And it had landed in a puddle, which had made it all the smudge, and the dog had ate it, so there was literally no...
Brilliant.
I mean...
Multiple... I think the dog is a little bit too much at the end.
Just keep it on and on. What is your best excuse for being sick, peeps? We'd love to know. Also, a couple of other stories. I just want to see your face. Sir Keir Starmer has insisted over the weekend that Labour's plan was the best. I just needed more time. But a member of Andy Burnham's close-knit thing said he'd lost the dressing room. I needed more time.
Can I just say about Keir Starmer, I think this happens with every leader of this country, the moment that you know that they're about to leave. I've suddenly been finding him very endearing.
Yes,
you suddenly realise he's coming next, and you go, Jesus Christ, Andy Burnham's going to be the next Prime Minister. And all of a sudden you go, oh, that poor Keir, like, he was a bit useless, wasn't he? But his heart's in the right place.
It is absolutely true. The minute you lose a job, you go, oh. Right, listen, loads to talk about. 7:15, 0344 499 1000. England's got a hangover. We're in the quarter-finals. Have you just come in from the pub? What's your ideal sickie excuse or your sickie voice? Colin, good morning.
Good morning, Jez. Morning, Pop. It's Colin, truck driver from Blackburn. Yeah, I had a bit of a blood rush this morning when I woke up. So I had to call Gaff and say, can't make it in. Migraine. Job knackered. Come on, England!
The Ministry of Common Sense. This is... Across the UK empire, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side this afternoon. This is Talk.
Welcome back. The JK Breakfast Show on Talk, the home of common sense and the home of the alarm clock. Brit is on Monday, the 6th of July, the day England made it to the quarter-finals of the World Cup, the day the pubs were open till 5, which means for the first time ever, I can say, let me know if you're just getting in from the pub. Have you thrown a sickie? If so, how? Kev, I think he's been drinking. That's Christian's just written this, OK? Just so be aware. I think Kev has been in the pub. This is Kev O'Sullivan. I've no idea. Play it.
Morning, Jezza. I hope you're well, mate. I got a bit lucky, really. I'm working today. Someone's got to pay for these migrants. Give them somewhere nice to live. These poor, persecuted people. And yeah, I got up to think, I watched the second half because I started at 4 a.m. And I woke up and I'm like, oh my God, the rain delay, I've pretty much seen the whole game and listened to the last bit on the drive into work. great result. Really happy with that. But, you know, regarding Nigel, because that's the other question you've asked, well, I'm more concerned about who is going to stop these people, and that's being really polite calling them people. Some of them are okay, but let's be honest, the predominant amount of them are not. People coming to these shores and raping women and children. That's what I'm interested in. Anyway, have a good day, mate.
You know, in the midst of all that, he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right, because no politician has done anything about that. No Labour politician, no Conservative politician, no Liberal Democrat, and I'm not saying Reform would, but I believe they do their best to try. 0344 499 1000. Other news quickly pops. Donald Trump is rattling the NATO cage again, just as he is prepared to meet. Keir Starmer's final sort of foreign visit, Ankara in Turkey. He's heading into the summit, and he's going to get a telling off from Trump. He's preparing himself to... So, you know, again, because Keir, dear Keir, it's all over. Can you imagine you said, up yours, Donald, don't give a damn about it, you can take it out on AB with the monocle.
No, well, you know what, you can't do that, because he now thinks his next job is going to be General Secretary of NATO.
Mate.
I mean, the man is completely delusional.
Do you know what I read today, which is frightening? We are now 12th rated in NATO in terms of the support and the money that we spend on defence. That's an absolute disgrace.
Yeah, it is. And it tells you next time that there is a reason why we all need to put more money into NATO spending. When the UK tells other member states, you need to, you know, cough a bit more cash for our defence, they're going to say, but you didn't.
Absolutely. And I don't fall for this, by the way. They're going, oh, well, the only way that Andy Burnham can do that is to cut welfare. There's other ways to do it as well. There really is. Try foreign aid. Honestly, if we cannot, which is surely the first rule of any Prime Minister, is to protect his nation, which I think, or her nation, I should say. Also, another story quickly. Police have been told to ditch the woke culture wars and get back to catching criminals. The report says, don't know what the report's called. The service has a serious leadership problem and is facing accusations of nepotism, cronyism and a shallow talent pool, which sounds like this show, to be fair. I've heard this story again and again. I've read reports again and again. I've heard, since I started this show, you can't call them the police force. I mean, we were scared of the coppers, right? If you were going to be dragged home to your man, that was the way it was. I don't understand this. I don't understand it.
The police force in this country has been deliberately destroyed, and it's been destroyed by two things. First was the Macpherson report, which completely changes the way that Macpherson is done. In some way, certain reforms were good. A lot of them, actually, I think now have turned out to be very, very bad for policing. And the second one is what the Conservative Party did to policing. They massively cut wages, they made the job much more unattractive.
And what did they do with the money? Because they didn't spend it on defence, the Tories, did they?
Well, quite. So a lot of really fantastic police officers took early retirement, and then ever since then they find it a real struggle to retain people. Also, if you're a police officer, and I always think of this in the case of the police officer, he was fighting back against a gangster who was trying to ram into him with a car, and the police force would just dump you. You know, the IOPC will say, oh, well, this is politically inconvenient for us because it's going to create a BLM scandal, so yeah, we're just going to dump you. And I think it's made it really difficult for good people in policing to actually stay in the job.
It's really interesting when Blex is on the show, which he is later, he'll always talk about how, you know, it's from the top and chief constables have been reacting to the way the world has gone. But, you know, sort of our old-fashioned view would be that the coppers are supposed to be on the street getting intel so that they can prosecute criminals. The whole system is laughed at now, massively laughed at, and it doesn't get any easier. And I think, geez, I'd be delighted. I mean, don't you want your police to do we not like a bit of fear, or is that an outrageous thing to say?
No, I think it's three ways, right?
That's the window blind going down in case you think something.
Scared me. So it's the police officers who you need to have properly funded, properly trained, good talent involved, that they know they're going to be supported by their union. You need the CPS to work to actually prosecute the criminals, because the CPS are just as bad as the police force. And you need the justice system to work. You need there to be prisons to actually put criminals in.
Well, there was after the Southport riots for 24 hours, because there were police on the streets, there were court dates, and people were arrested on Sky and put in prison straight away.
But that's where all
that
three
was a bit
parts
convenient, wasn't it?
That's where all three parts of the system don't work, and you can see it in a story like that. Why did the police officers prioritise people posting social media posts? Why did the CPS decide to charge these people as if they were terrorists? And why did the prisons that are supposed to be overflowing suddenly find place for these people? It's because the political priorities are wrong, and the only people that can fix this are the government. You're not going to be able to rely on these police force chiefs. They're completely compromised.
You're going to laugh at this. Paul in Hitchin says, morning the gorgeous Poppy and the coffin dodger.
Oh, my God! God!
Brilliant.
He's only 61.
I phoned in sick this morning, then suddenly realised I wasn't on shift anyway. What a complete muppet. I'm going back to bed. Rob, good morning.
Morning. I can't come to work today. I'm so sorry. It's just that I'm only 23, but I've got anxiety, and if I open the front door, it gives me anxiety, even more anxiety, and I'm just anxious thinking about it. So I'm not going to come to work today because I get paid so much money for having anxiety that I can't find a job that would make it worth not having anxiety for. So I'm going to have to go now. This is making us anxious.
He's just taking my excuse.
Mike in Swindon. Well done, Robbie. I can't come to work today because, if I'm honest, I'm totally trashed. Yeah,
Sometimes
that's the most honest
the best
response.
policy.
That's like Poppy's boyfriend. He had 4 pints. Good morning, Jess. I came down this morning to find my 90-year-old wrapped around the bowl of the loo. Never heard anybody so unenthused about England winning, says Jerry in Froome. Great. If you are waking up, England, fantastic performance overnight against Mexico, right? And we just never thought we could do this on the show. If you're just getting in from the pub, let us know on the breakfast show. Pub's open until 5. Are you throwing a sickie? What is your best sickie excuse? Farage back in the firing line. Another donation row over the weekend. Reformites are saying, listen, this is just the establishment. They're terrified. Other people, certainly the mainstream media on the left and the BBC, are saying, no, this man is an absolute disgrace. But Poppy, just to finish the hour as we started the hour, your take on that was based on everybody's the same, frankly, and they need to look in the mirror, right?
Well, quite, exactly. I mean, I just think that you have seen what the Conservative Party did when they were in government. We have seen what the Labour Party did when they were in government. These people are not whiter than white. They are just as caught up in this in a much worse way, by the way, because Nigel Farage wasn't an MP when this was happening. We are talking about people who were actually in government, taking money from donors who were then having influence over public policy. So I would just ask people who are interested in this story to say, why are they doing it now? Why are we hearing about it now? Is it because Reform won big at the locals and they're running scared? Because they know now that Reform could actually form a majority government and that would disrupt the establishment in this country in a way we haven't seen for 100 years.
Absolutely.
And they are fighting back with every single tool in their arsenal. So just be aware when you read these stories, why they're being placed there, why are we talking about it for weeks after weeks after weeks, with all the problems this country has, why are we talking about this story that we already knew about, already in the public domain? That's all.
Just to finish, I never thought I'd say this, but this is from Keir in London. Ladies and gentlemen, morning, Jez. We haven't always agreed, but I can't come, I'm afraid, to the NATO summit in Turkey later this week because I'm a laughingstock and I'm scared of Donald Trump. Absolutely bloody
Now, that's got to be the best sick note we've had so far.
JB, boss, I'll not be in today. I've given £5 million away to Nigel Farage, so I'm doing a runner. Brilliant. 0344 499 1000, text to 87222. So, now, going to work or going home to nurse the boyfriend's hangover?
Oh, going to work.
You're brilliant, you are. We love having you on the show. You're back on Thursday.
Yes, I am.
Poppy Coburn, half a pint of beer in the middle of the night. Nudge and throw, sickie. She came into this show. If you are waking up, how's the hangover, Britain? A great result for the football team. Through to the quarterfinals of the World Cup 2026. The biggest sickie day ever. Are you pulling a sickie? What's your excuse? What's your best sickie voice? But most of all, I'm sorry, I think it's absolutely fantastic. Just let us know, 0344 499 1000, text to 87222. If you are just getting in from the pub. I never thought I'd be able to say that. News at 7 next.
The essential Q&A to start your day. The Jeremy Kyle Breakfast Show.
we've got some breaking news that has just come in. talkSPORT have announced a brand new partnership in a developing story. We hear they've created So Good Lager right in time for football's big summer. Justin, we're hearing that So Good Lager will be pouring pints across all O'Neill's pubs and some of the best sports pubs across the UK. With the big kickoff just around the corner, you can find out where to get your hands on a fresh pint of So Good Lager at talksport.com/lager.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk. Talk News Update.
The question my party is asking now is whether
England fans are daring to hope it's coming home.
To lead us into the next general. I have heard the answer.
The Three Lions beat Mexico 3-2 to book their place in the quarter-finals of the World Cup. Jude Bellingham found the net twice, while captain Harry Kane scored a penalty. He told us he's proud of his
every
team
decision
for
I've
digging
taken
deep.
We had to show has been about putting the country I love
sweat,
first.
blood, tears, whatever
that
it was.
Is why
we found a way to get
I will resign as leader
Jordan
of the
Henderson, who
Labour
was
Party.
booked during the match, was also injured after falling over an advertising board following celebrations. Back here, and
he cared about public service.
That was the sound of crowds at Box Park in Wembley who stayed up like thousands watching at home and in pubs. England now play Norway on Saturday in Miami. In other news, an allergy pens will be kept in every school in England from September. New guidance called Benedict's Law also means staff will be trained to use them in an emergency. Reform's Nigel Farage claims he's a victim of an establishment-hit job and has followed the rules. He's facing calls for an investigation over reports financial support was given to him by convicted criminal George Cottle, including the use of a rented property before he was elected. Broadcaster Angela Epstein said this could be damaging.
One was a picture of Keir Starmer and the way it changed. Well,
accept and process is when we
promise made and promise delivered.
Meanwhile, under new plans, overseas voters moving to the UK would be stopped from giving more than £100,000 in political donations for a year after their arrival. The government's also proposing tougher checks on company donations to prevent foreign money from influencing UK elections. And the first weight loss pill goes on sale today. Wegovy can be bought privately from high street chemists and online pharmacies. But people are being warned not to buy cheap options online as they may be fake.
And changing their leaders at will. We vote for somebody in a general election to be our Prime Minister. We expect them to serve their term. And barring ill health or exceptional circumstances, what is going on here, frankly, is reminiscent of a banana republic that has totally devalued the very process of general elections and democracy. We at Reform demand a general election.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
There you are. Welcome back or welcome along. Just gone 7 o'clock. What is it? Monday, the 6th of July, the day that England discovered themselves. If you didn't watch the match against Mexico in the Azteca, you missed, I think, in my lifetime, the greatest England performance ever. We're through the quarterfinals of the World Cup. We can start dreaming. Unbelievable. Let's get some music. I'll just be happy about this. Just told him my arms out. Just loving it. Listen, I never thought, keep the music, that I would be able to say this doing a breakfast show on Talk. Let us know if you're just getting in from the pub How good's that? If you are, so the first hour's been all about, because apparently today is going to be the worst sickie day in the history of the United Kingdom workforce. So if you are throwing a sickie, I need your best sickie excuse or your best sickie advice. 87222 is the text, or you can send that voice note 0344 499 1000. Matt, good morning.
Hiya, Jez. It's Martin Warrington. I can't come into work today. I stayed up last night and had a big Mexican pizza. Oh, the first 2 slices were all right. Then I had another slice and I felt really ill. And then I had another slice, felt really ill. And then the third slice, I felt like a bit better. But, the Mexican pizzas in the middle of the night are no good for you, so I won't be in today. All right.
Brilliant. 0344 499 1000. What's your best sickie excuse? What's your best sickie advice? Britain has a hangover. We'll talk other news as well. Nigel Farage back in the firing line. Another donation round. Donald Trump is apparently going to rattle everybody at NATO. So Starmer's final foreign trip's going to result in a telling off. The police are under pressure this morning. Ditch the woke culture wars. And my favourite story today is Sir Keir Starmer says, my plan was the best, I just needed a bit more time to implement it. Bye-bye. 7:05. Here is a man who hasn't been to bed for about 36 hours, but he's as happy as I am. We say a very good morning, Talk Sports man. Max Scott, how are you, son?
Oh, look, if it meant that I could experience that again, I'd give it another 36 hours wide awake, Jeremy. As you rightly say, that was an all-time World Cup classic. Not just the best game in a generation
by
or
a
two.
Distance, the best England
That
played.
was one of the best World Cup games in history. It had it all. It had goals, it had red cards, it had penalties, it had altitude sickness, it had a hostile tequila-fueled crowd. It was something else, and it was a coming-of-age moment for England. You said to me just off there, and I'm sorry I'm stealing your words, that you didn't have a doubt.
I didn't.
And I'm not surprised. I mean, I did, but that's just because I'm a nervous wreck, because it's a confidence that oozed character and resilience and metal and bottle and something else beginning with B. It was absolutely incredible.
It was, and actually, even if you're not a football fan, what was astonishing was, and somebody said to me, oh, stop going on about it, you know, you were slagging them off the other day. Every single player did the job. It was like the biggest psychodrama, you're absolutely right. But weirdly, because I could see them all doing their job. My boy, Rice, gets booked after a minute. It was awesome, man. He ran and he ran and he ran and he ran. All of them, to a man. Dan Burn came on and just threw his body at everything. It was as if everybody turned up, and you don't get that. Already the naysayers are going, oh, well, that would have taken a lot out of them. Or what about 6 days' time, Norway? Let's just chill out a minute. Brazil are out, OK? Yeah. Let's take 6 days. Pickford was awesome. 2 great saves. You know, the whole thing was absolutely brilliant, but it has resulted in the biggest sickie day in the history of the United Kingdom.
Well, I'm not surprised. How
many drinks did you have in the pub? Let's not lie.
I just had 1 drink at the start to settle the nerves.
But you were really nervous, were you?
I was nervous. I was confident we were going to win, but the occasion was so big, Jeremy. This is the first time since 1986 that England have played at the Azteca. Yep. The last time they played there was, of course, the famous Hand of God incident. Yep. And so, you know, Mark Gay, he said before the game, we're hoping he's a religious sort of a man, Christian man, and said, you know, that the hand of God will be with England this time round, and it certainly was. So the reason I was nervous is because there were all these demons that needed to be exercised, and so much had been made about altitude, and so many journalists had gone for 5-kilometre runs to prove how difficult it was, as if that would give us an insight into what these players would have felt. But I guess that drip effect does have an impact as a viewer and as someone that loves your country and wants the team to do well. And I just can't help but think that is an incredible launch pad for this team. I think they've found their identity, Jez. They're not a free-flowing France. Let's stop comparing ourselves to the French. Why would we want to do that anyway? Yeah. We're fighters, we're battlers that have got a moment in them and can scrape through when needed. That performance this morning proved that.
Well, it's really interesting, actually, because, of course, you'll have the flair teams, you'll have the France's and the Argentinians and the Spanish and all of that. But what you're so right about is, if you'd written a plan for that football match was keep them quiet and silence the stadium for 20 minutes, try and score a goal on the break, get 2, stay safe to half-time, doesn't happen. But then you add in every aspect. You add in I mean, listen, the tackle, it's a red card. Yeah. That's not easy. How he must have felt, but it happened to Beckham, I guess. Anthony Gordon sprinting, getting that penalty. But for me, the last 20 minutes was the most... It's really weird, right? The last 20 minutes against 10 men with them streaming forward. We didn't have a player past the halfway line.
there wasn't a worry for me. And I was really surprised. I just thought they've got this. I genuinely thought they've got it. Now we've got Norway and Thor, as my wife says, because I think he looks like an avatar, Haaland. How'd you see that going? Saturday, 10 o'clock. That's great. I'm getting the curry and I'm getting the beers in on Saturday night.
Yeah, it's my first weekend off in a month, Jeremy, and let me tell you, I'm going to be enjoying it. Look, I've got to say that after the performance that Norway put on against Brazil, you'd rather play Brazil. Norway are a team that play... they're a team greater than the sum of their parts.
Yeah.
Brazil are a side of Vinicius Juniors, Neymar's, whatever. They've got individuals, but Norway are a threat. It's like an FA Cup game. And this is a golden generation of Norway, by the way. They've got Erling Haaland, they've got Martin Odegaard, they've got some great players in there, so they're not to be sniffed at. Sander Berge, Fulham midfielder, they've got, you know, some Bodo Glimt players who, of course, have done really well in Europe recently. They've got a Wolves defender who got relegated, but again, that's not the point. You know, we've seen the FA Cup upset year in, year out, and we pretend that we're shocked that it happens. If Macclesfield can beat Crystal Palace in the FA Cup this season, knock out the holders, Norway can beat England.
Do you know what I said to you the other day? And I was like, you know, I wasn't really interested early on, and then I get really disappointed. I don't have any qualms now that England will not reach the final of the World Cup. I genuinely believe there'll be Norway and Argentina. A bit, obviously, France is the issue, but I don't. If they play, and patently he's able to plan tactically, because all of his substitutions were fantastic last night. If they are able to plan a completely different team in a completely different environment without the altitude, I think they'll have too much for Norway. But what they have to be, as you quite rightly said, is the sum of all the parts put together. And you know, that identity is really important.
And what I would say is last night was a vindication for the FA's decision to not appoint an Englishman and to sack Gareth Southgate and to appoint Thomas Tuchel. Now, you say, and understandably, everybody talks about how it's inevitable that if England get to the final, it'll be France. If you're a betting man or woman, I'm not going to tell you.
I'll use your FA Cup analogy then if we get to the final, because it takes one goal.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. But what I would say is France have got an incredibly tricky tie against Morocco, who are by far and away the best African side. They are world class. The way that they go forward is something to behold. It's entertaining blockbuster football. And with, you know, French-born Moroccan players and Moroccan-born French players and the connections that they have as two nations, the Moroccans are going to be right up for it. And yes, they're underdogs, but they're not plucky underdogs. They're silky smooth underdogs. And so I just think, you know, if that's a really difficult task for France, much more difficult than Norway.
Let's not forget Argentina. They lost to Cabo Verde the other day.
Well, exactly. But also France have then got to go through Spain. And so, look, whoever England face are going to be worthy opponents if they're to get to the final, and it's an if still. But last night, I think the nation can believe again, like we did after that Croatia game. It was an absolute stunner, Jeremy. I
could not agree. If you haven't seen it, there'll be a repeat at some point today. It was... Max is right, had everything. It had everything. It had emotion and grit and determination and moments of brilliance and mistakes, and the whole thing was like... carried out in this amphitheatre of 87,000 baying Mexicans, and it was just extraordinary. It was extraordinary.
We've got to give a word for Jude Bellingham. 2 goals in 90 minutes.
I'll just tell you what I said to
Almost a year to the day, Jeremy, when an article was printed that said Jude Bellingham, in the Daily Mail, that Jude Bellingham should be dropped, he's a soloist, etc.
Shouldn't make the squad, that article said. Joke.
And what a brilliant way to prove...
World class.
To prove doubters wrong. Jude Bellingham is the best player this country has produced since Wayne Rooney, technically.
No, sorry. A big Rooney fan. The best player this country has created since Paul Gascoigne.
All right, well, I'll give you that.
And Gascoigne, I know, was flawed, but you ask Rooney and they go Gascoigne miles down. Bellingham just has something.
But defensively as well. Well, he's got
line clearances, 2 goals, just a cocky smile. And we were having a debate before the World Cup, should he play at number 10, player of the tournament for me, by a mile.
Absolutely. He's dragged this England team up 2 goals in 90 seconds. Wonderful.
Voice note, Jay, good morning.
Morning, Jez. A great show as always. Got to work a bit earlier, couldn't sleep because obviously watched the game, adrenaline was so high. I think about midday today it's going to really hit me. I got some sleep late last night before the kick-off, but just want to say, you know, if we were to win the World Cup, which is still a big if, lots of teams to go, you know, Labour are going to come out and how proud they are of the boys, and they're going to be seen in the England football top and all that. These are the people that don't even want you to have the England flag up. Just remember that. And roll on the general election when it happens.
Good, brilliant. 13 minutes past 7 now. You might have spotted, if you haven't spotted this, that the World Cup is actually happening. Look at all the pictures. Does anybody not know? We've got a great competition on Talk. We're celebrating a massive summer of football in true style. I've got, where is it? We've got £26,000 tax-free cash for you. We've got cash. I don't know. How'd you get that past the tax? Doesn't matter. 26 grand. I don't know what you do with it. Straight into your bank account, a holiday, pay off a loan, pay off a credit card, buy a new car. Don't tell the wife or the husband about it. I don't know. If your bank balance could do with could yours do with a serious boost?
Of course it could.
Could it? Yeah.
Times are tough, Jeremy.
Well, yeah. So essentially, you could win this because you work for TalkSport. It's a talk thing. So pin back your luck, This is how you can win 26 grand. You included, Maxie.
For your chance to win, visit talk.tv/win or text TALK to 83338 by 6 p.m. on the 20th of July 2026. Texts cost £2.50 plus your standard network rate. Or send your name and number by post to Comp 1 PO Box 3190, Colchester CO2 8GP. To arrive by midnight on the 23rd of July 2026. 18 plus, UK residents only. So for your chance to win, text TALK to 83338 now. This is a network promotion. Full T's and C's at talk.tv/win.
Sorry, Christian, the world's greatest producer, just said, you're such an idiot and thank God you're not in charge of anything. How murky would it look if Max Scott from TalkSport won the 26 grand? Well, no, we'd have fixed it, so I got off. What are you talking about? Why is that murky? I'm joking. It's a great opportunity. Celebrate the World Cup, Max. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
So, off to bed or a couple of more hits?
Yeah, a couple more hits on
You're
a few
going to go and
different
watch
shows.
it again, the match?
I'm definitely going to watch the highlights continuously on my way home.
Good man. Listen, great to have you on. Thank you so much indeed. Next big game, Saturday, quarter-final, 10 p.m. Miami, right?
Yeah, 10 p.m. in Miami, Norway, and England are going to win by hook or by crook.
Lovely. 7:15. We're live across the UK. This is Talk Breakfast. JK on until 10:0344 499 1000. How's the hangover, Britain? Let's go to Lawrence in Wiltshire. Morning, Lawrence.
Morning, Jeremy. How are you?
Yeah, good. Not bad for a balding 61-year-old has-been. Crack on.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I think celebrating people who are going to pull a sickie today, I feel it would be indicative of the terrible state the country's in. Jimmy is a small business owner. If my staff don't turn up, we don't function. I've got all the overheads. I have to pay for all that, and we don't make any money today. And I'm terribly sorry. Somewhere there'll be a small little business which doesn't open today, and that will be the straw that breaks the camel's back, and the owner's business will shut. And to celebrate and say, yeah, think of all your excuses, don't know, it grates a little bit with me.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, yeah, sure. No, I get it. It's just, I mean, I get your business and I understand that, but everything's so miserable in this country. It's just quite nice to have something to celebrate. But I know what you mean. Listen, I get it. I get it. It's hard for businesses, right?
No. If no one turns up to A&E today because they were all drunk last night, you know, someone dies. But there are consequences, and I think go enjoy yourself, but get yourself to work. A little bit of a self-responsibility.
No, listen, I don't have to. I mean, listen, people have... the beauty about this show, mate, is that people have a right to an opinion. You're running a small business, you need your people in. We came into work, other people haven't. Nobody here missed work, and I hope at your place as well. But we appreciate your call. Were you happy that England won?
Oh, absolutely. No,
did you have a drink? Or
didn't watch it. Woke up this morning, but... You know, I'd love to see England go all the way. Always in any sport, you know. I'm proud of our flag, proud of our country, but yeah, it's
proud of our flag, you right-wing extremist. What sort of language is that on this show? Have a great day, Lawrence. I take your point, though, mate. Thank you very much indeed. 0344 499 1000. He makes a salient point. That's what this show's about. It's opinions, isn't it? He's saying, I've got a small business. I've been clobbered by this government. If people don't come into work today, it's not good for my business. Other people are saying, listen, I'm throwing a sickie and you can shove it where the sun don't shine. Tracy, this is brilliant, Christian. You've got to listen to this. Morning, Jez. I work in a funeral parlour and I had to call in this morning to let them know I can't come in today as I watched the England game and I can't stop smiling. That's not going to work, is it, in a funeral parlour, Tracy? Morning, Jez. I'm not a footy fan, but come on, England. I've got hope in my heart and my dreaming. They are Andy Burnham. Do you remember that last week? I hope you've got hope in your heart, because I have. Right. Stephen Stockwell, can I wish a safe journey home to the half a dozen or so singing England fans I saw riding down my road this morning on Boris bikes? Oh, God. Boris bikes. Mark in Selby, morning, mate. Jez, I phoned it in this morning claiming diarrhoea, head lice and foot and mouth. I don't think my boss believed me, but I'm self-employed. Morning, Jez. Sorry I can't come into work today. I've realised I've been retired 5 years, says Baz in West Brom. All right, mate. Jez, I can't come to work today as I got abducted by aliens last night, but I managed to keep hold of my mobile phone. Morning, JK. Not saying I'm drunk, but I've just phoned up my boss and told him to stick his job up his backside. Then I also realised that I'm self-employed, says Dave in Burnley. And I'm loving it. Matt's in Derby. Morning, JK. So now is Farage... Oh, back to Farage. Now, Farage used a flat. It's a major problem, is it? When two-tier free gear did use Lord Ali's flat, that was all fine, nothing to see there. Move on. Keep up reform. This is the other news story today you're waking up to. Nigel Farage firing back in the Express this morning. This is a hit job. I've done nothing wrong. Another donation story over the weekend. A friend of his, George Cottrell, again giving some money, it seems, to support Nigel before he became an MP. The mainstream media, certainly on the left, several establishments like the BBC jumping on board. The Tories are also jumping on the bandwagon and saying there should be a recall and we'll fight the Clacton seat. Nigel Farage will fight back. I thought Poppy Coburn had it spot on. The establishment is naturally petrified by what's happening. Really, really petrified. I don't condone people that make mistakes. I think politicians should be far more down to earth. But the debate should be, has Nigel Farage, in any way, cash for questions, think back to that, has he taken any donations from anybody that changes his political stance? No, because he's had the same political stance for 23 years, which not many people in British politics can say. Oh, here we go. It's 7:20. We've had lovely Rob from Newcastle. Now we've got angry Rob. Morning, angry Rob.
Morning, Jez. Rob, on his way to work. You're on about how the establishment, the left wing, the right wing, and all the rest of them are all getting together with the mainstream media to try and do a hatchet job on Farage. Again, I've got a couple of things to say on that. First thing is, look across the pond at our old friend Trumpy Bear. They tried everything with him. They tried to frame him for sexual assault. They tried to do him for not money laundering, insider trading or whatever, but they tried everything to bring that man down. They even tried to knock him off a couple of times, somebody did. And it still didn't work, and he won. So there's the first one. The second one is, you want to be careful, because when you start throwing all that around, guess what? Some of it might stick to you. All of these people that are moaning about Farage and his little backhanded deals, I wonder how many of them, when the dust settles, are involved in the grooming gangs. I wonder how many politicians have got dirty hands where they help cover up or facilitate or to hide, you know, all of these wrongdoings. There was a lot of that going on back then, so all these people throwing this crap now, you want to think long and hard, because I tell you now, mate, if it comes out you're one of them, you're toast.
The thing that most makes me angry about Keir Starmer talking about the need to defend our country, and he's gone out of his way to not make the tough decisions to actually do the thing to defend our nation. It's cowardly, and I think it's treacherous.
Nothing to say on immigration, nothing to say on benefits, nothing to say on jobs, nothing to say on tax. Absolutely appalling. If this is the solution the country's been waiting for, then we are in a very, very bad place.
People up and down the country are asking why they are always being put second. They work every day, they get up, they pay their bills, they look after their kids, and yet the other side of the social contract is not being held up.
across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back to 7:24. We're live across the United Kingdom. Talk Breakfast is on. It's the home of common sense and, of course, the home of the alarm clock Brits. Where have you been? England? I'm going to have a cup of tea here, look. Digestive biscuits. Stop laughing. I'm joking, but it's not good. Can I get some water, please? I'm having a nightmare here. If you are tuning in, amazing, amazing result last night for England, the football. If you're watching on YouTube, people are going absolutely crazy. London, full of people coming in this morning. The pub stayed open until 5 a.m. For the first time in my life on a breakfast show, I'm able to say, let me know if you've just come in from the pub. Crazy, crazy scenes across the UK. And also, this is interesting, the biggest sick day. You're just laughing at me. Get me some water, man. Oh, honestly. I'll tell you what's happened, says Mark. He says, you're trying to call a sickie and go home. I'm not. I've got something stuck in my throat. Anyway, listen, I'll crack on. The other thing that was really interesting is busiest sick day ever in the history of the United Kingdom, right? What is your best excuse for calling in sick? What is your sick voice? Somebody's going to come into the studio right now and bring me that drink, because I cannot. Sorry, guys, this isn't going very well. Shalape, thank you very much indeed. Excuse me. Apparently my kids are watching me, which is a bit embarrassing. And the wife's just texted me, and do you know what she said? I'm actually going to stay up and watch the game on Saturday, and I've ordered flags, bunting for the car and for the house. Now, I'm all for that, but who the hell's going to put them up? Because I'm not going to. What's your idea of a sickie excuse? Morning, Stevie.
Morning, Chaser. Sorry, it's Stevie from Durham. Sorry, I can't come and phone your show today. I celebrated last night with some disgusting American lager. And now it's coming out of orifices I didn't even know I had. Oh, bye. I might be in tomorrow, though.
Welcome to the Talk Breakfast Show. I don't think in the history ever have we ever had this. Morning, just sorry, I won't be in work today. I was sleepwalking last night. When I woke up, I was halfway down the A303 at Stonehenge. Don't get me. You've never asked me about that, have you? Because I will have an argument with anybody. Oh, it's some mythical area. No, it's not. It's a bunch of stones in the middle of the road that people driving to Somerset stop and stare at. And whenever I went to my parents, who I don't go to now because they're dead, it was always a 2-mile traffic jam. Stonehenge, rubbish. 0344 499 1000. Morning, JK and team. Forgive me, but we've been here before, haven't we? I would dearly love an England victory, but Sarah. Gary and Brecon is going to upset my father-in-law. Rob Brecon. Pin back your logos, Rob. Englishman living in Wales. Not a big football fan, to be honest. However, watching the hysteria about a simple game of football makes me understand how the Welsh, the Scottish and the Irish find the English so nauseating and arrogant when it comes to football, says Gary in Brecon. Let me tell you, it's not even fighting talk. That comes from... Well, sorry, Scotland lasted 5 minutes, Ireland didn't get there, and let's not even start on Wales. Don't get me on sticking up for the best football team. Morning, Jez. Sorry, mate, I'm running late today. There's a herd of cows running loose. It will take a while to round them up. I've just seen they're all females, so this is no bull. Boom! 0344 499 1000. The worst jokes you could ever hear. I never thought I'd say this. If you've just come in from the pub, phone the show. We'll say a very good morning to the chief political writer at Spike. Let's get sensible. Actually, let's not. Brendan O'Neill, good morning.
Hi, Jeremy. How you doing?
Did you watch it?
I did watch it. I watched it at home with a can of beer. I didn't go to the pub, but it was fantastic.
Good lad. I did as well. I made the mistake of getting up at 10 to 1, thinking it was 1, and then realised that it had been rain delayed. But, yeah, fantastic. And in a sea of misery, me old son, it's quite nice to have some good news, isn't it?
It was amazing. I mean, I've had 3 hours sleep, as some of your people watching can probably tell, but it was worth it. It was worth messing up my Monday for that match. It was absolutely brilliant. It really gives... I think it's going to give a jolt to the nation, exactly what we need right now.
It's somebody's just texted me and said that it's not you, obviously, but most of our guests seem to have been intoxicated so far. It's like we're replaying the Jeremy Kyle show from the ITV days. That's fair enough. Brendan, I want to talk, actually, about Farage, if I can. I thought Poppy Coburn was so spot on today. Can we cut up a bit of what she said earlier and maybe play it in a bit? Over the weekend, another donation row. This involves a friend who committed a crime in America, went to prison for 18 months, George Cottrell, 8 months, I should say. Nigel Farage has come out fighting today and said, front page of the Express, this is a hit job, I've done nothing wrong. We know the story of the $5 million donation from the crypto billionaire Christopher Harborn. We also, there's this story as well. Now, lots of people, certainly the left mainstream media, the BBC and others, are jumping on this. This man's this, this man's that. I'm not going to get embroiled into whether, because I don't know the story behind it. What I know is, because I listen to Poppy and I go back far enough, I remember Cash for Questions. I remember politicians who were accused of changing their stance for financial gain. This man is the most consistent political person in terms of his opinion for 25 years. I'm not sitting here and defending something that I don't understand. What I am saying is, to me and to most of the people contacting this show this morning, this smacks of desperation. And for me, I'm not saying that Nigel would listen to me, I'd come out on the front foot. You look across the pond at Trump, as somebody said on that voice note, they tried everything to bring him down. To me, this smacks of fear. Don't know where you stand on this. It's spiked, my friend.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like you, I don't know the ins and outs of these donations and these cases, whether dodgy stuff happened, I don't know. You know what, Jeremy? I don't particularly care.
No.
Firstly, because our political establishment has been up to its neck in scandal for the past 20 or 30 years. That's one of the reasons people want change. And also, this is so obviously a dirty tricks campaign by the leftish media, by the mainstream media, to try and stop Farage. They're throwing everything they can at him in the hope that something will stick, in the hope that it will make them lose a few votes. This is a desperate rearguard attempt by the mainstream media and the political class to hold on to power, to prevent the change that they think is coming, to stop populism from actually getting into Downing Street. That's what this is about, nothing else.
Do you think that, again, I don't know, people are, I mean, Poppy said that because Nigel's been quite quiet, that they smell, you know, blood in effect, and that's why they won't let go. If you were a sidekick of Nigel Farage, would you say come out fighting? Would you? I mean, nobody can forget what Trump did. I'm just interested. You know far more than me about politics in this country. Do you think your average Reform voter will go, oh, God, that's me, I'm done? Or do you think they'll think like most of the Republicans did in America, they'll do anything to stop our man?
This scandal is not going to land with ordinary Reform voters. It is not going to land in those working class parts of the country who are biting at the bit to vote for Reform because they are sick and tired of Labour and sick and tired of the Tories. You know, the only place where it will cause a stir is in SW1, in The Guardian, at dinner parties in London, where they'll all be saying, oh, look at Farage, he's up to his neck in corruption. They're the only people who will care about this. Everyone else will be thinking, well, what are Farage's policies on immigration, on borders, on welfare, on defence? People will be asking the normal political questions. But I agree with you. I think Farage should come out on the front foot. I think he should come out fighting. My concern about Nigel Farage over the past 6 months or so is that he's been a bit too quiet on a few issues. And sometimes I think that Reform could actually take the lead on certain controversies and scandals, and they haven't come forward as energetically as one might like. On this stuff, he really does need to come forward. He needs to come out and say, look, I did nothing wrong, if he did nothing wrong. But more importantly, he needs to say this is a transparent effort by the establishment to stop Reform. It's undemocratic and it's outrageous. He needs to say that.
Couldn't agree more. 0344 499 1000. The other story today, I mean, I'm going to watch your face. I mean, it's NATO's summit in Antalya, I think, in Turkey. It will be Keir Starmer's last ever foreign visit as Prime Minister before he's replaced by the Monaco-browed man, or whatever he's called, Mono-browed man. He's apparently going to walk into a grilling from Donald Trump, who's not happy with NATO in its entirety for the lack of support. But I read a story across the weekend that I should disgrace every Briton. We now rank 12th in NATO countries in terms of the money we spend on defence and the quality of the machinery that we have to defend ourselves. 12th. This was a country that used to lead the way. And I have to say, I mean, that is, to anybody of whatever political party, that is a disgrace. And we can go back to the Tories. I have no doubt that Burnham will find no answer to a problem that we seem to go round and round the houses about. Cut the welfare benefits deal, cut ridiculous amounts of overseas foreign aid and invest in our armed forces. But here's the line I wanted to throw at you. Keir Starmer this morning insisted Labour's plan was simply the best, but I needed more time. Just respect. I mean, really? Still hasn't got it, has he, him?
He still hasn't got it. He never will. He really needs to just walk out that door now and stop boring us rigid with his stupid platitudes. He doesn't know what he's going on about. You know, he thinks his legacy will be his attempt to shore up our defense system. In fact, his legacy is going to be that he left this country defenseless. He left us a defenseless realm. That's what he did. We can't even stop a few dinghies from crossing over into Kent. We used to be a country that ruled the waves. We used to rule the seas, and now we can't even stop, 100 men coming over on a rubber boat. And then he doesn't give the young men and women who train in our armed forces, he doesn't give them the equipment they need, the funding they need, the machinery they need. He's failed on those fronts time and time again. But you know what, Jeremy, this is not just incompetence on the part of the political class. It's a reflection of the fact that they don't care about the nation. No. They don't care about sovereignty. We know that because they want to give it all off to the European Union. They don't care about our borders, which they've let to go to rack and ruin. They don't care about our history, which they're ashamed of. So their lack of defense is reflective of the fact that they don't give a damn about this country. That's what
I couldn't agree more. And actually, if you bring it back to today's story with England, you stayed up, I stayed up. You watched the Labour government. You watched them all don flags and shirts if we make it to the final. I'm interested in your... I mean, I completely agree about Starmer. He's a busted flush and there's no way back and he won't have a legacy, whatever he says. I mean, I wouldn't even be going. It must be humiliating. But the incoming AB, as I call him, you know... I was watching and reading at the weekend. He was warned by Labour MPs on Saturday morning not to cut the welfare benefits bill. It's going to be much of the same with a bit of window dressing and a 3-month bounce. The fact of the matter is, and I go back to the Farage story when I say this, I don't care if you're not squeaky clean. This is me speaking as a voter. I don't want you to tell me you are. I want you to be a man or a woman of the people who tells us the good stuff and the bad stuff and makes me believe that you've got my best interest. I don't care if you've got 15 homes or you live on a park bench. If you can do what this country needs, which is to close its borders, get people off the anxiety-ridden sick list into work. Get some police back on the street so it's not all right to go into a shop and shoplift 200 quid because the police won't come and see you. If you could get antisocial behaviour, if you could just get an education system where kids were taught to read and write and do arithmetic, or run around a forest, not dress up as cats or dogs or pretend that they're anxious because somebody's... There's so much, right? Which is why I would support Nigel Farage. And I know nothing about the donations, but at least here's a man or a party that is saying, do you know what? These things are wrong with the establishment, and all the parties that have been involved in it, the Tories and Labour, they've done it, and Liberal Democrats, for years. And what people miss is the British public are fed up to the back teeth, aren't they?
Absolutely right. You know, the political class thinks that we want politicians who are squeaky clean, who've never taken a backhander from a mate, who've never tweeted anything controversial, who's boring, upright, you know, grey, technocratic like Keir Starmer. That's not what we want. We want politicians who shoot from the hip, who are honest. We don't particularly care about what's in their bank accounts or even what's in the, you know...
I don't care if they make mistakes. Tell me it's a mistake. I don't care about that.
Yeah. We don't care about that. We care about what they're going to do to restore the dignity of this nation.
That's agree more.
People are crying out for right now. And the people in politics who don't get it are on a hiding to nothing. Starmer should come out and say, look, this is a transparent effort to screw you over, the voter, to prevent you from getting the change you want. And instead, what we're going to have over the next couple of weeks is Andy Burnham sweeping in, another boring politician who thinks he's king of the north, Mr. Manchester, he's going to save the country. But what does he stand for? What answers does he have to the border crisis, to the migrant crisis, to the welfare crisis, to the defence crisis? Yeah. I've heard nothing. All I've heard him say is going to have number 10 in Manchester and he's going to travel around the country. That's not going to cut it.
Did that not put hope in your heart, though? Because that's what he was hoping.
It didn't. It really really didn't.
You're a legend. We love having you on. Brendan O'Neill, thank you, my friend. Chief political writer for Spiked Online. Diane's in Bedfordshire. She said, I had to phone my boss this morning saying I couldn't find my bra. She said, I'm a big lass, so really wouldn't have wanted to subject my colleagues to such a shock. But I'm off to the shops today to buy a new bra, so I'll be good for work tomorrow. Clayton in Dartford says, Jez, I'm watching a repeat of the England game on BBC Two. Don't tell me the score. 3-2. Katie, good morning.
Morning, Jez. It's Kate here from London. Oh, I'm sorry I can't come in today. I know you were expecting me to bring Jez's birthday cake, but I'm so sorry it didn't go to plan. Oh, I've been up all night thanks to a dodgy pizza. Oh, I don't recommend the spicy pepperoni. Oh, dear, oh dear. So I thought, I'll be brave and try and make it in today. So I got Jez's cake ready. I tried to go down the stairs. My ankle went beneath me. I fell to the bottom. Oh, so undignified. Heading cake and a broken tooth. Oh, this morning has not gone to plan at all. Oh, gotta go. Spicy pepperoni round 2. Sorry, guys. See you soon.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Now, welcome back. Just gone 20 to 8. We're live across the United Kingdom. Next up is a man who undoubtedly will have got up, had a couple of lagers and watched the football. Former, I should say, Met detective and now star of stage and screen, Peter Bleksley. Welcome to breakfast. Come on.
Good morning.
Come on. Did you stay up?
Of course I stayed up. What a wonderful game of football and a brilliant performance by the England team. I'm absolutely buzzing this morning. It was wonderful.
Did you stay up? Did you go out to a pub or did you watch it in the hotel room? What did you do, kiddo?
I performed my stage show in Winchester last night.
Yeah.
So after I'd done that, I was very thirsty, nipped in the pub, had 2 pints, then came back to my hotel, had a sleep for an hour and a half, set the alarm, woke up and was just treated to an absolute spectacle of the greatest spectator sport on the planet.
Best England performance I've ever seen in my life. No exaggeration. Thought it was absolutely nailed on and gives me real hope going forward. You?
Yeah, without doubt. They're a very, very talented bunch of players, but they work so incredibly hard. I get worn out just watching the effort, the tracking back. You find players like Bellingham and Kane doing it regularly at both ends of the pitch. They are a remarkable bunch of players. And come on, it's coming home.
It's coming home. 18 minutes to 8, front page of the Telegraph today. I feel like this is sort of, I don't know how to put this to you, it feels like sort of deja vu. A new report out today says that police must stop engaging in woke culture wars and focus instead on, oh, surprise, surprise, Pete, catching criminals. This is a major government-backed review that probably costs hundreds of thousands of pounds. The damning report into failings in police leadership said bosses must be resolute in refusing to take sides and not be diverted from focusing entirely on the prevention, detection and prosecution of crime. I'm a bit old-fashioned. You've probably created this in me. I thought that's what you're supposed to do if you're a copper.
This report, which I welcome, and I'm very glad that finally this government has had the courage to commission the report and to get it published out there today. This report says nothing that you and I have not been discussing for years. What does it say? Police leadership are woke, useless, corrupt, there's nepotism, cronyism, all the things I have been saying publicly for a very, very long time. Now, let's hope that it leads to the change, the formation of a policing academy, senior police academy, and also that changes filter down to the front line. It's about blooming time somebody said this.
I couldn't agree more, but to me, this is typical Labour. This is Quango committee report, kick the tin down the road. Let's not do anything about it. You said it really well. Anybody with a brain cell can see what's gone on here for absolutely ages. I don't want reports. I want action. Somebody, I think it was with Poppy this morning, we were talking about Southport again. Suddenly, you know, overnight with Southport, there were thousands of police on the streets, there were free spaces to do people in court, and there were free spaces in prison. I don't believe... I think it's all part of, without wanting to sound conspiratorial, I think that the change to the police force, the way the police do all of the things that they do, is part of what's happened to this country. Diversity, you can't get a job unless you tick a few boxes. You can't sit in a television show at the front unless you've got something, you know, that they think is good to show. You can't... the police, you know, we're supposed to stand and talk. No, just arrest criminals. They break the law. I still find it, you know, 61 tomorrow, just thought I'd drop that in. I still find it utterly repugnant that people can go into a shop and nick 200 quid's worth of stuff and nobody does anything. That's not a world I understand.
But these failings in police have been going on for decades. Yeah. And I and certain other crime and police commentators and writers have been shouting it from the rooftops, but nobody wanted to listen. In fact, senior police, some of them labelled me as dangerous because I told the truth. Well, I'd far rather be called dangerous than be accused of cronyism, nepotism, being woke and otherwise corrupt, which is what so many of them are. Let's see now, will this Academy of Senior Police Leaders be created? If so, who's going to deliver the training? That will be very interesting to see, because if it is just same sort of people rolling out utter nonsense, then nothing's going to change. But there's also another important and very welcome recommendation in this report, and it is the formation of the rank of senior constable. So if that's done properly, PCs who want to remain PCs but have a wealth of experience, deserve to get paid a bit more and therefore have some leadership role. Senior constable, I think, would be a very good idea. But talk's cheap, policing's expensive. We'll have to wait and see if these changes that are very much needed come into place.
Yeah, I'd absolutely agree with that, and fingers crossed it finally means there'll be some movement. Just quickly, Pete, a comment. You've been quite vocal in the past about how successive governments have ruined this country. There's another donation row centring on Nigel Farage this weekend. Reform says he's done nothing wrong. It was before he was a Prime Minister. He's kicked back a bit today. Front page of The Express. It's a hit job. I've done nothing wrong. Poppy Coburn, I thought, nailed it. I'd love to cut that interview up, guys, if we can. She just said, you know, it's a bit rich. Have a look at yourselves, all these other parties, you know, think Mandelson, think Lord Ali, think the Russian oligarch in the House of Lords that's given money to the Tories. We're not condoning because we don't know the truth about what's going on, but it does strike so many people who are contacting this show that the establishment will do anything to stop a man who's led in 334 opinion polls.
Of course they will. There's so many of the establishment are absolutely desperate to keep Nigel Farage out of number 10 Downing Street. And of course, this weekend, we've seen the Sunday Times embark on an effort to try and do that. What I want from political leaders is action. I want political leaders that are going to preserve British culture, British values, that are not going to be afraid to wear a flag of St George or a Union flag, to cut out the woke, the drivel, the nonsense, the liberal, the fluffy, the what they call themselves progressiveness, which is so damaging to everything that so many millions of people know, love, adore and want to cherish. And I want the establishment stripped out of all that damaging, woke, fluffy nonsense. Give me a political leader with the will to do what they say they're going to do. Get a grip on defence, get a grip on migration, lower taxes, lower energy costs, get the economy growing again. That's the kind of thing I want to see from political leadership.
Couldn't agree more, mate. Lovely to have you on. You look far more brighter than me. I'm beginning to flag a bit as I haven't been to bed, but I'll do all right. Bit of coffee. Peter Blexley, legend, former Met Police detective. Thank you so much indeed. 11 minutes to 8. Morning, Daryl.
Morning, Jezza. Daryl from this here. I can't come in today, mate, because these far-right hooligans were keeping me awake all night last night, screaming. They had a flag out and they were driving round and round. Yeah, that should be banned. That flag is just disgusting.
This is just a result of the big news story today. Obviously, England through to the quarterfinals of the World Cup. Today will be the biggest sickie day in the history of British workers. What's your excuse for calling in? What's your sickest voice? No, that doesn't sound right. Your best sick voice, don't you? Yes, hello, Jeremy. Not your sickest voice like that. I mean, what is your voice? You know what I'm trying to say. And also, I never thought I'd get to say this on the show before, on the breakfast show, to say the pubs are just closed. Tell me if you just left the pub. Tell me what sort of night you've had. Here's a man who doesn't drink, who doesn't like football and who will have tucked himself up at 10 o'clock with a hot toddy. Legendary former press secretary to Her Majesty the Queen and royal journalist, Dickie Arbiter. Good morning, Dickie. How are you, dear?
I'm good, thank you, Jeremy. I did actually watch the match last night. I'm not in the UK at the moment, so I saw it at 4 o'clock in the morning and I sat through it. Great match. Pity about 10 men. Pity about the... feel sorry for the Mexicans. They had a lot on their men, but they just didn't make it, did they?
No, what a shame that was. We're going to do a Mexican wave goodbye. You dirty old stop-out, Arbiter. You were up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Did you have a beverage or two in your hand?
No, I didn't have a beverage. I didn't need a beverage to enjoy the match. I like those Bellingham goals, and I thought the free kick. You know, a free kick. If you miss on a free kick, then you shouldn't be playing football.
Good man, great. Dickie, great to have you on. Last week.
Happy birthday for tomorrow, by the way.
You what?
Happy birthday for tomorrow.
Thank you, Dickie. You had to get that in, didn't you? Mate, we've been following this psychodrama of Harry and Meghan yet again for the last couple of weeks because, of course, he was coming over for the Invictus Games. The story came out that he was bringing Meghan and the children and the King was going to put him up in one of the royal residences and it was all going to be fine. And, of course, as we all knew, because it's all about Brand Sussex, blah, 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 then they might not because of security, and he was close to tears. We find out late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, Meghan and the children now not coming to London, this is really interesting, but might well fly in and out to visit the late Princess of Wales' grave. I don't know about you, but I think I speak for millions of people when they just say, we're fed up to the back teeth of the psychodrama that you lot bring to this whole royal story, Dickie.
I think you're absolutely right. It is psychodrama. It's all stage managed. Harry's going on about security. He's saying the UK is dangerous. Well, if it's dangerous, you don't announce your plans in the first place because you're announcing your plans to the enemy, the very enemy that security services are there to protect you from. So it's a bit of an own goal. I don't believe for a moment Meghan was ever going to come to the UK, let alone London. And everybody's talking about reconciliation. Harry reconciling with his father, his father seeing the grandchildren. Let's not forget Thomas Markle. Thomas Markle hasn't seen his grandchildren at all, although the King did in 2022, and he's never met his son-in-law. So, is reconciliation on both sides. Let's not just make it one-sided.
I agree, and this might be viewed as cynical, right? But I have absolutely no doubt that as the oxygen goes out of their attempts to make lots of money, because America, Spotify, Netflix, everybody's turned their back because they've seen this couple for what they are, the only thing that they've got left is to not ingratiate themselves, but have a little bit of a visit, be seen, because I don't trust them. I think it will be out there with pictures and everything. I think they've proven that. And, I get it. King Charles, probably not well, wants to see his son and his grandkids, probably has massive reservations. In fact, I was reading this morning, the royals have all sort of committed to keeping themselves very busy when he lands in the United Kingdom, presumably to keep out the way. You'd really like to tell him, wouldn't you, in the nicest possible way, mate, the people are done with it. There's been too much BS. And I'm with you, Dickie. I don't think she ever meant to come here. Not at all.
Well, Harry's kind of lost his way, and he's desperately looking for something to do. And the only thing he really knows how to do, well, he knew how to be in the army, he knew how to fly an Apache helicopter, but he left the army 10 years ago. So now he's looking for something to do. They burnt their bridges in the United States. People have seen them for what they are. They're not making money anymore. They need to make money to pay for their lifestyle. How they're going to do this is anybody's guess. The closer they can get to the British royals, to the family, the more the Americans will say, yeah, well, they're still close to the family, we can still use them. But they're not close to the family, and people are running a mile from them. I think it's a very sad state of affairs that Harry has found himself in, walking out on the family as he did, in a fit of pique, saying, well, we can't get our way, we can't be half in, half out, so we're going to go out altogether. They went out with a bang. They made a lot of money for the first 2 or 3 years. Now, all of a sudden, they're not making any money. Not even the jam is selling.
But this is the point that I don't get, that people don't like. You made an absolute pitch, you couple, that the reason... I've watched that Oprah Winfrey thing. I did television for quite a while. That was stage managed, but they called the British royal family racist. So why is it, when the jam orders dry up, that what they want is to be seen, or a picture or some news about, as you said, they're still close to the royal family? I think you've nailed it, Dickie. I don't think the royal family are close to them. I think that they have made their beds, and I think that lying in it, they've suddenly realised it's not as good as they hoped it would be. And I suspect that the entire royal family has massive reservations, because whenever they come, or whenever there's a meeting, it's released to the press. There's always somebody on behalf of them. Listen, if my dad was ill, I would come and see my dad without making a big fuss about it. He's making a big fuss about it because it's their oxygen. That's the truth.
Well, everything they do, they announce it. They haven't got a very good communications team, because if you've got a good one, you don't announce it in the first place, because Harry is terrified bringing his family here. I don't know why. Yes, we do have problems, and it's pounced upon by our security services. But don't announce everything that you're going to do. You're going to come in, arrive quietly, arrive privately, make arrangements with your family to see them if they want to see you, but don't announce everything in the first place. It's fodder for the tabloid newspapers. It's fodder for those people who might want to do you any harm, might want to do your children harm. Just keep stum. You were trained to do that in the army. Do it in civilian life.
Couldn't agree more. There are some rumours about this next question to you. Apparently the rumours say that she might do a surprise visit later in the trip. We talked earlier about, you know, they might go to Althorpe, but I don't know how that's less dangerous, but there you go. That, again, to me, is just to create headlines. Either you're coming or you're not coming. By the way, love, nobody really wants you to come anyway.
You know, it's a whole big PR exercise. If you're going to visit your deceased mother-in-law's grave, you don't announce it.
No.
You go. You go with respect and with dignity. Unfortunately, there is no such word as dignity in that family, and that's the problem of it all. And besides, you mentioned about the royals having engagements. These engagements were planned 6 months ago. They haven't just suddenly happened just because Harry happens to be arriving. They've been in the melting pot. They have a programme meeting at the end of last year. They say what they're going to do, and it's all put into the diary for the first 6 months of this year. They've had a programme meeting in May, which is put into the diary for the last 6 months of the year. So these haven't been suddenly arranged just because Harry is coming and Meghan might come. These have been in the melting pot for months.
Do you think she'll ever come back? Final question.
I hope not.
Dickie Arbiter, no beer, watch the football and gives it straight. We love you, mate. Thank you so much indeed. Former press secretary to the Queen. He is a legend. Dickie Arbiter, almost 8 o'clock. We're live across the UK. If you're waking up, where have you been? England through the quarterfinals of the World Cup. More people are off sick than ever today. We want your sick voice, your sick excuse for being sick. Or if you just come out the pub, how are you feeling? 0344 499 1000. News at 8 is next.
We've got some breaking news that has just come in. talkSPORT have announced a brand new partnership in a developing story. We hear they've created So Good Lager right in time for football's big summer. Just in, we're hearing that So Good Lager will be pouring pints across all O'Neill's pubs and some of the best sports pubs across the UK. With the big kickoff just around the corner, you can find out where to get your hands on a fresh pint of So Good Lager at talksport.com/lager.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
I swear by Almighty God that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles, his heirs and successors, according to law. So help me God.
It's happened before, but it is nonetheless still rather extraordinary that somebody who was only elected or officially sworn in as an MP less than 24 hours ago, in 3 weeks' time, is going to be running the country.
Yes, I think it is rather extraordinary. I think the issue isn't whether someone like that should automatically have to hold a general election. If Andy Burnham wants to introduce major changes to our constitution, he's talked about overhauling the House of Lords. He's also talked about overhauling our electoral system, bringing in some form of PR. I think if he wants to do any of those things, he needs a mandate from the public to do them. To try and do them without calling an election, I think, would be a constitutional outrage.
I've got an interesting tweet. There's always a tweet, Julia.
Yep.
If I can just read this out to you from Andy Burnham 3 years ago. We need to start demanding a general election at the end of this Tory leadership election. Well. That was Andy Burnham actually 4 years ago in 2022. So we're saying stick by your word, be consistent, Andy, and when you're Prime Minister, call a general election.
No, the battle is really on, though, for number 11. Who's going to be the Chancellor? Ed Miliband, don't forget, has played an integral key role in this coup, and it is a coup because no one apart from 25,000 good people in Makerfield have voted for this guy. Yeah. So he's played a pretty integral role in undermining Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer and Ed Miliband aren't really speaking. He's going to want a big reward. But, he is, probably the most left-wing person in the government, and he will spook the markets.
Lou Hay, I mean, the reality is, look, she served her time. She was cast out of government. The reality is, as you said, she has been central to his campaign. She was central to his campaign in Makerfield. More broadly, she's been central to his campaign to enter Downing Street. He owes her, and she will definitely get a role. I'm not.
What do you say to the people that have texted me in their droves this morning? This is a really corny sentence, but it's true. That lawbreakers can't be lawmakers, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, but the reality is she's going to get a job. So the answer is yes, they can.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Well, welcome back or welcome along wherever you've been. It's just gone 8 o'clock on Monday, the 6th of July, and you would talk breakfast, of course, the home of common sense and the home of the alarm clock Brits. And I have to tell you, what a morning. I don't know if you stayed up. I did. Millions of people across England stayed up to watch England. I genuinely hand on heart, the best performance by an England team ever in my life. I would say many people are saying by a distance since '66. A really incredible performance against Mexico at altitude, 87 baying, 1,000 Mexicans calling for a referee who looked overawed, but a fantastic performance. Through to the quarterfinals of the World Cup, Saturday 10 p.m. in Miami against Norway. The fallout, though, means many people are hungover, many people are phoning in sick, many people will be off work today. I'm not condoning it, but it's a fact. They're telling us it's the most popular day. So we'd love to know, what is your best excuse for phoning in sick? We'd also like to hear your best sick voice. 0344 499 1000. Paula's in London. Hello.
Hello, good morning. Congrats to England. This is an actual true story, but I had to call in sick.
I'm so sorry. I know you're going to think me rude. Stop. I actually can't. I don't know whether your mouth is very near the phone. It's really difficult to hear you, sweetheart. Let's start. Just slow down, because it's my age. Start again.
Oh, bless you. Okay. This is an actual real excuse. This has really happened. And by the way, I'm working from home today. Anyway, so I had a dream, and I woke up with the dream. It scared me. I threw myself against the wardrobe, fell out of bed, threw myself against the wardrobe. My neck hurt, my neck. Emailed my manager and told him exactly what happened, word for word. And he said, take it easy, rest for the day.
I hope you're all right, though. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Good.
This happened, but it's a good excuse, but it is a real excuse.
Did you watch the football?
I was waking up, checking the score. Happy about Norway. I'm a big Norway fan as well.
Norway? What do you mean, bloody Norway? What are you doing about bloody Norway? We're going to beat them. The Saxons are going to beat the Vikings. I don't think that's right.
But it's coming to Europe. It may not be coming to England, but it's coming to Europe. That's
lovely. Thank you very much, Steve Paula. I appreciate anybody who phoned, but I didn't understand a word. I don't know, it was the line? Bless her. It was clear that, and it's obviously the age. Yes, it's true. 61 tomorrow. I'm not coming to work tomorrow. I'm going to come up with an excuse. I'm sorry. I'm too old to actually get out of my bed. Stop laughing, you bunch of youngsters through there. None of you would have jobs if it wasn't for Churchill. Remember that. Morning, T.
I just wanted to come on and say none of us could have predicted the position we are in. After staying up all night and only an hour and a half sleep, after scoring 2 goals, then losing a man in such quick succession, that gut-wrenching feeling of, oh my God, we can't do this. But yes, they did. They won it. Nobody could have predicted that that match was going to go the way it did. And it was incredible in every way. But here's the thing. What we all could have predicted and what we're all seeing in the world we're living in is the attack on Nigel Farage. I question, is it the Andy bounce that isn't so big, and now they want us to look over there instead of at him? But here's the reality. No one gives a damn about it. Have we been desensitised from the corruption in government?
It's really interesting. Britain might be hungover. We might have had the most astonishing result for English football, but loads of stuff still in the news. One of them is this constant attack by the left-wing, certainly mainstream media, about Nigel Farage and his donations over the weekend. Another story, this about a friendship with a multi-millionaire who'd served some time, George Cockrell, in a US jail some years ago, did his crime, did his time, whatever. The reform row continues. Many people are saying, oh, this man, we're finding him out, and they can smell blood. Every single person who's phoned or texted this show this morning says this is a hit job by the establishment, who are terrified that Nigel Farage and his popularity is not going away. The Tories are jumping on the bandwagon, saying, you know, if the Ethics Committee comes back and says the $5 billion from the crypto billionaire was blah, 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 we're going to fight Clacton, we're going to win it. My question to you this morning is, and I do not know the specifics about whatever those financial arrangements, but I'm just going to lay it out as I laid it out last hour. This isn't me speaking for Nigel Farage. It's me speaking on behalf of Alarm Clock Britain. I suspect, like me, millions of people are fed up to the back teeth with politicians pretending they're anything other than squeaky clean. I don't give a damn. I don't know about you. Tell me I'm wrong. I don't care, actually. I didn't really care about Starmer's suits. I don't really care about tickets to see Taylor Swift. I don't care if Farage has had money before he came into politics to get security, because one thing, as a little side note, that Poppy Coburn said earlier, which is damn true, is there isn't a politician in this country that's had more death threats and more hassle than Nigel Farage. What I want is a politician, be it male or female, is going to stand in front of this country and go, right, forget the BS. We're going to stop the boats. We're going to cut welfare and get the lazy and feckless off their backsides. We're going to put more policemen and women on the streets. We're going to ban knives. We're going to do things that this country used to be good at doing. We're going to have a defence system that works. We're going to have a Navy, an Army and an Air Force we're proud of. We're going to stop giving money away to what? Foreign aid, because it makes us feel good, and we're going to spend it on the things that matter in this country. We're going to have a grooming gang inquiry, because I would say one of the biggest stains on this entire country is that a variety of politicians for years have done nothing about it. And there is a silent majority in this country, a silent majority, who are fed up to the back teeth with those things. Now, you can cast your eyes, Poppy Coburn said earlier, to America and look at Trump. They accused him of everything in the world and he still won. I'm not saying Nigel Farage is guilty or innocent. I have no idea, right? What I do know is that he is the most popular politician in the United Kingdom, and he's that for a reason, because he's been consistent in his arguments for longer than anybody else currently political. Now, my next guest might disagree with me, but the first question is he sober? Did he stay up all night, and how many lagers did he have? Steve Baker, former Conservative Minister, good morning.
Good morning, Jeremy. I'm happy to tell you there's no hangover here, but I'm really celebrating and happy this morning that the team won. It was a fantastic match.
Did you not stay up all night, Baker?
No, I did not. Is that the worst sin I could commit this morning?
You girl's blouse, Baker. What's wrong with you? I thought you'd be up there. You know, old Dickie Arbiter, Queen's ex-press secretary, 80, he was up all night on the shandy.
I'm a terrible spectator. I just couldn't do it.
And in another sense, that couldn't have been taken the right way. It's extraordinary, though, this morning, the hangover Britain, the excuses. What's the best excuse as an ex-minister of the government that you've ever heard for a sickie, either given by yourself or given to you by a staff member?
Well, do you know, actually, my staff members are very good. They tend to book time off if they're going to stay up all night and watch the sport, which happens quite often because one of them loves American football. So my advice to employers is the best thing you can do this morning is try not to notice where your staff are if you possibly can.
Guy rang earlier, though, and he said, Guy rang earlier and he said, I've got a small business, and to be honest, I've been hammered by this government, and you might be making a laugh about it, and I get it, he said, but I need everybody here today because I'm really struggling. Miserable kid. Right, Mr. B, Nigel Farage firing back today in the Daily Express. This is a hit job. I've done nothing wrong. Now, I know that you used to be a politician, and I have always tried on this show to do it in the correct way. Yeah. There seems to be an obsession with Nigel Farage from the establishment, which is pretty understandable given the rocket that he's put up most of their backsides, and the fear, I suspect, that many in the establishment have that he could end up in 10 Downing Street. Why are they picking on him? Because they're scared of him, or do you think he's out of his depth? What's your take?
Well, of course they're scared of him. He is a disruptor, and the establishment doesn't like to be disrupted. But I'm afraid you will face questions as a politician if you accept very large amounts of support and don't declare it. Now, their argument isn't that he didn't accept this support. They've conceded, I think, by implicitly that he did. What they're saying is that these were personal gifts. Well, I've looked at the rules this morning. Honestly, it's tricky to see how these were personal gifts. The rules are really clear that gifts only don't need to be declared. I'm going to read it. Members should not register under this category benefits which could not reasonably be thought by others to be related to membership of the House or the member's parliamentary or political activities. For example, purely personal gifts. It goes on to say that if there's any doubt, they should be declared. I mean, this exemption is about your wife buys you a nice watch for Christmas. It's not about being able to stay in somebody's house.
But I don't understand how it cannot be called politically motivated when the Prime Minister of this country stayed in Lord Alley's £20 million penthouse in Covent Garden. So Nigel Farage has spent some nights in George Cottrell's house. Why is that of interest to the British people who basically are saying to me in their droves this morning, I don't give a toss about that, Steve. I give a toss about why we cannot deal with HMOs, why we can't deal with lack of police, why we... That's the truth. And I'm not blindly setting up for Nigel Farage, but the establishment wants to look at what happened with Trump in America and not underestimate the British people. That would be my opinion.
Well, absolutely. So if he declared this support, it would be a non-story. Look, I used to accept lodgings, which I properly declared while I was a minister, because there wasn't an allowance for me to stay overnight. I used to work very late on my ministerial box. I needed somewhere to stay. Someone near Westminster helped me out. I declared it, and it was a non-story when I was attacked for it. Now, if Nigel had declared all of this, it would have been a non-story when he was attacked for it, just like it was for me, precisely because your very sensible listeners don't care about it. The problem here is that we cannot have a system where politicians can accept any gifts they want.
But then why wasn't the Prime Minister hauled before the Ethics Committee for staying in Lord Ali's flat? Because call me boring, and I'm not having a go at Starmer, I couldn't give a toss when my Prime Minister or my MPs sleep. This is my point. This is where I do think the establishment and many papers need to understand very graphically. I'm not saying that Nigel Farage isn't above being looked into, as everybody else did. If you put yourself out in the stump as a politician, like I used to say about television when they did me, I said, you know, if you don't like it, then go back to a 9-to-5 job, give up the fabulous salary and the opportunities and stop moaning. What I'm saying to you is, it's interesting now. It's interesting now in terms of the burn and bounce after the local elections, the fact that a couple of by-elections that people thought Reform might win, they didn't. Are they going in for the kill? But my question maintains itself to you. Why wasn't Keir Starmer sent to the Ethics Committee for staying in Lord Ali's flat? What's the difference between that and Farage?
Well, it's probably the personalities. Of course, people thought the grown-ups were back in charge. That's proven to be untrue. Yeah. But no, I don't doubt for a moment that there is bias in the press and that newspapers have political agendas and that they would prefer that Keir Starmer had succeeded and they would prefer that Nigel Farage failed. But I'm reminded of the old adage that if you're a politician, there's no point complaining about the press. It's like sailors complaining about the sea. And, you know, this is sort of thing you have to put up with, and the only way through it is to declare all your interests.
Do you think it's politically motivated, or do you think it's just scrutiny which comes with being him, Nigel Farage?
Well, it's both, isn't it? It's scrutiny that's bound to come if you accept donations like this and don't declare them. That if you make the positive choice not to declare them because you regard them as personal gifts, you're bound to face scrutiny about whether it's within the rules. I think, to be honest, it's my opinion, but I think the Parliamentary Commissioner for Standards will find against Nigel. It's difficult to see how it could be otherwise. He could end up facing a by-election. I think he'll win that by-election for precisely the reasons you've given. The question for me really is whether he'll face one or two by-elections, because he's now got two investigations which will go on. Will they be taken together or separately? Honestly, what a circus. And it's a thing that Nigel could well do without. I hope that his whole team is reflecting really carefully on what he's doing. But I think you're right to say that his voters don't really care about this stuff. Unfortunately, the reputation of politicians, I think largely unjustly, is so low that people think it's all par for the course.
Now, I consider you a friend, but I'm going to take complete odds with you there. You think it's unfair that the... I mean, can somebody please cut that Poppy thing up early? Because she put it so well. Louise Haig's about to go back into the cabinet. She's a convicted fraudster. Think of Cash for Questions. Think of every sleazy story that you've heard about politicians. You know, the one that rang at 3 o'clock in the morning to say he was tied up in some London flat by a rent boy and he needed the local leader of his... Let me just... Actually, Steve, and for people listening, Poppy Coburn this morning, who reviews the papers on a Monday and a Thursday, deputy content editor at the Times, she put this very interestingly about Farage. Have a listen and let me know what you think. Go on, Pops.
Let's not forget, this Labour government began with Lord Ali's donation scandal, where a man who was donating directly to politically affected officials was allowed to pick the selection of Labour MPs who had great influence over the direction of the party. So he literally paid, I'm sorry, it seems like it, he paid and then he got influence. So let's put that on the table. Leaving aside even the Peter Mandelson job, where, again, another seriously unsavoury individual who actually had great political influence and was best friends with a paedophile. So there's Labour. They are turning around and now saying, Nigel Farage, look at him, look how dirty he is, look how dirty his party is. This is someone who's given up 25 years of his life to fight against the establishment, who has got more death threats than any other politician. You don't hear that in the news, seriously. If he has taken this money before he was an MP from someone where there is no suggestion whatsoever that he's changed his opinion, OK? Nigel Farage has been completely consistent politically
For 25 years.
For 25 years,
Yeah.
as long as I've been alive. He's known this person, a friend of his, for a very long time. This is not cash for questions, this is not cash for access, OK? This is someone basically saying, you're a friend and I need to support you because the state isn't stepping in and you're getting death threats. He can do with that money as he pleases, frankly. All of the stories that the Times is breaking as exclusive this weekend and the BBC is running on as exclusive breaking news is already out there. We've known this for years. Why is it coming up now? Why is it being repackaged now as breaking news?
Steve Baker, that was Poppy Coburn. What's your response?
Well, she's put all of that extremely well. And even if I was positively on Nigel's side and taking that line, I would still say to him, Nigel, you can do without this nonsense. Just declare all the support you get. If you expose a flank in politics, it will be exploited by your opponents and by your enemies. Just declare everything because people won't care. Just get it in the register. Take the story, it will wash over, no one will care. You can use it to parade your very positive record. You can use it to parade all the direct death threats you've had, and people will be on your side. If you declare it, Nigel, it will boost your standing. If you don't declare it, it will harm you. It's a no-brainer. Just declare it. And here we are. He'll probably end up, because of this, because he's exposed a flank, he'll probably end up fighting a by-election and winning.
Do you actually think that'll be the case? There'll be a by-election?
I think there's a good chance, because I'm afraid when I read the rules, if I was interpreting them, I'd say this is an open and shut case. He should have declared it. That's obviously not a judgment for me, but the parliamentary commissioner. Bear in mind, his opponents are after him. If it then goes that he's suspended and then he faces a recall, the Tories are already, chomping at the bit for a by-election.
Can I be really honest with you? Can I be really honest with you? And I learn on this job every single day. This is a completely and utterly... I've got no skin in this game. I'm going to look this in the other way, and I'm going to think about Trump, right? I'm going to say that they find him guilty, he fights the by-election, the people of Clacton are so appalled that the man they see as a messiah is being done, he gets a bigger majority, and this actually further enhances the feelings amongst millions of reform voters in this country that the system will stop at no cost to get Nigel Farage, and in fact hardens their support for reform going forward.
I think that is what is likely to happen, yes. Yeah. And I think the Conservative Party and Labour should just take stock and try and think ahead. But if I learned one thing in 14 years of Parliament, 8 of them organising other MPs, trying to organise what the headlines were, often very successfully, if I say so myself, I've learned that members of Parliament are really not very good at thinking about what will happen next and what after that, and what after that, and where will it reasonably lead you. And what they're not thinking about is that this will backfire on them. The truth is, though, I think that Nigel's claiming that these were personal gifts, and when that is tested against the rules, I will be extremely surprised if he is successful, and that will probably result in a by-election. And the script writes itself now, and it's very tiresome as a distraction from all those important problems which you articulated, as usual, brilliantly earlier, which your listeners care about. And the answer to all of this is, in future, he should just declare everything and just get through it and move on to the issues that really count, because this will be a distraction for him and for everybody else.
Before you go, a couple of texts. One from Reggie says, I believe Prime Minister's question time on Wednesday will be fun. I can see Keir Starmer telling everyone that it was him and Rachel Reeves that helped England win. The man who is and has been described as the delusional nasal knight's been at it again this weekend, Steve. He says that Labour's plan was the best. He got the mandate. He was just not given enough time. His deputy says that Starmer lost the dressing room. Is he ever going to work out the fact that we just don't think he was up to the job? Fact.
No, he's never going to work that out. He'll always think that he was hard done by. He'll always think it was somebody else's fault. That is human nature, I'm afraid, and that's why democracy is so important. And I concede that even though I lost my seat in Parliament, it has to be possible for the voters to remove politicians, whether by staying at home or by turning out.
Stevie B, we don't like the fact you weren't watching the football. We love having you on the show. We really, really appreciate it. Legend, ex-Conservative Government Minister Steve Baker, thank you very much indeed. Daniel, good morning.
Good morning, Jezza. This is your boy Daniel from Epsom here. If England do well in this World Cup and they get to the final and they win it, or if England do well and Labour try and benefit off the back of it, you have to remember that Labour and the left are the people that are persecuted British pensioners, British farmers. They're the people that don't want you to fly the flag because you're far right. They're the people that hate our heritage, hate our traditions, hate our culture and customs. So don't let Labour have anything to do with this England win.
Is facing its gravest test in decades, and the royal tea from Talk is your front row seat. With royal reputations under pressure and probing questions about public trust, we unpack every twist and revelation with the biggest names in the business. From the throne room at Buckingham Palace to a mansion in Montecito, we follow every royal ripple. Never miss a moment of The Crown in crisis. Subscribe to the royal tea from Talk on the app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back, 8:26. We're live across the United Kingdom. Before James Price, I have to give a shout-out to our sister station, talkSPORT. Such amazing coverage in the last couple of weeks since the World Cup started, and last night was by no means, well, it's just the best. And this is great from Ellie, who says, Jez, I listened to the match on talkSPORT on my Alexa in the middle of my pillows. In the middle of my pillows, not on one end. Oh, my God, what amazing commentary. They were brilliant, just as exciting as watching it. Great show, as always. I love talkSPORT and I love Talk Radio. Let me just play a little montage. This is how good. If you can't watch the television, there is nowhere in the world you want to listen to this World Cup other than on talkSPORT. This is commentary at its highest quality. Have a listen.
A new chapter of Azteca history. Pelé and Maradona have had their moments. England are about to have theirs. Saka inside the penalty area. Stands up a ball and a diving header is in. And England silence the Azteca with Jude Bellingham. And now England have robbed them of possession again. They'll try and bring it forward. It's Bellingham again. And he slipped it to his right-hand side. And he scored again. It's 2 in a minute. Oh, bring on the Norwegians in Miami. Jude Bellingham on the double.
What an incredible minutes play that was for England.
Free kick swung in, taking a touch, right-footed volley in. And Mexico are back in it. Quinones, he's off. Kwanzaa dismissed.
This game's had absolutely everything. And that is the last thing England needed to go down to 10 men.
How comes the goalkeeper? Could be a penalty to England. It is! Penalty to England. Harry, your country needs you here. You've got to put this away. Right-footed, he has! England lead by 3-1. Penalty to Mexico. Jimenez with a curvy run. He's going to run up and hit it right-footed. The crowd will tell you he scored.
Tuchel's got to earn his money down there now.
England have won! They've laid bare the curse of the Azteca. That is a massive step in this World Cup campaign.
I promise you, and I'm not just saying it, amazing. It's the only place, if you can't watch it on telly, just take TalkSport with you. Amazing, amazing commentary. And the next day, of course, Saturday, 10 o'clock in Miami, England, the quarterfinals of the World Cup against Norway and the avatar called Haaland. We'll have them, not a problem. Are they Vikings or are they Saxons? What are they, Vikings, are they? We'll knock them down. Anyway, listen, if you got to work late, you're not going to work, you're throwing a sickie, we want to know all about it. 0344 499 1000. Never in my life did I think I'd do a breakfast show where I say, if you've just got back from the pub, give us a call. Here's a man who undoubtedly didn't go to the pub. I stayed at home. James Price, former government advisor. Did you stay up all night, kiddo?
Do you know, I wasn't going to, and then miraculously, despite normally being a very heavy sleeper, I woke up and I thought, I'll just check. I'll see. I'm sure we've won. I'll check the final score, only to discover it had been pushed back an hour. And I found myself watching the whole of the second half and the whole of the third half, given how much damn time that bent referee gave them in injury time. And I'm glad that I did. What a game.
He was under a bit of pressure, that referee, but yeah, listen, listen.
Not my words, the words of the England manager, Tuchel, who I thought was very robust in his criticism, pointing out that some of the VAR guys were from South America as well. And I wonder if the cartels know where the referee lives.
Brilliant. I love you, JP. Listen, onwards and upwards. My friend, there are a couple of stories in the papers today. We'll start with Nigel Farage, hitting back in the Express, James, saying this is a hit job. I've done nothing wrong. Second donation row today. You heard what Poppy just said, which I thought was an incredibly balanced approach. It does seem as if the establishment are coming for a man who's led in the last 330-something opinion polls. Steve Baker there saying he thinks a couple of mistakes might have been made and it could result in a by-election. But like me, he thinks that if that was the case, incidentally, he would rump that by-election and it would further fuel the support. It's Trump-esque. I mean, unless I'm missing the point. I've had two people go, oh, that's it, I've changed. The other hundreds of thousands are going, I don't give a damn, I just want my country back.
Yeah, exactly right. I think this kind of lawfare, by in other words, will never really work. Look, am I entirely comfortable that someone like Nigel Farage is getting all this money from these different sources? Not particularly. In lots of ways, I think we're very lucky that British politics doesn't have very much money kicking around in it. I actually think we should have much higher salaries for members of parliament, because otherwise if you pay peanuts you get monkeys. And I'm reminded of the words of Lee Kuan Yew, the legendary Prime Minister of Singapore, because the Prime Minister of Singapore was paid $1 million equivalent a year, and he said, yeah, it's true, we've got the best paid politicians in the world, but I can guarantee you they're not the wealthiest, because he knew it's very important that politicians had to be seen to be beyond reproach. And actually the Singaporean, I think, transport minister went to prison a year or two ago because he took Formula One tickets, and that was it, done in prison straight away, because they've got zero tolerance about it. And I think it's true that Farage has probably eschewed an awful lot of earnings he could have made and would have made over the course of his life. And I'm sympathetic even to the security concerns and all that kind of stuff. But these are the rules as they are, and you should be expected to be called up on it. I do think that it is a pity that it will be jumped on, and if this is the thing that brings him down rather than all the arguments, then the country will be worse off for it, because he's done more to highlight the problems of the European Union and of mass immigration and of weak economic growth and of lack of defence than many people. And finally, I am sympathetic again to your comparison with them going after Trump. And Trump, I think, said in his re-election campaign that he was either going to end up in the White House or the Big House. And I think that's exactly right. Oh, by the way, it happens in France as well. Marine Le Pen has come second the last couple of elections. Looks like she might win this time. So what do? They find some bit of bureaucracy that she's not done right. They throw the book at her.
Don't you think it's interesting that all of those politicians are on the right, JP, as well? And that the establishment as we know it, the mainstream media, the BBC... I'm not going to sit here and say... Nigel got that, and Nigel... I don't know specifically what he got. What I know is this isn't cash for questions. The most consistent voice in British politics in the last 25 years has been him. And if I watch the performance in the House of Commons when they're baying for his blood, if I was as active a reform supporter as I know millions are, that would merely fuel me to be even more supportive. And that is almost a lesson. I am not in any way saying if Nigel Farage has broken any rules, whether he has or not, he should get away with it. No, of course he shouldn't, right? But I do think that the British political establishment has made many examples of underestimating, I hate this phrase, but the power of the people. And I do believe that millions of people will go, you're out to get our man, you're out to get our man, and that ain't going to change how I see it. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Right, I think that's entirely possible. But, and of course, a by-election in which Farage re-stands would clarify that very comfortably. If they think they can beat him, if they do beat him, goodness me, all bets are off. But, as you say, I think it's highly plausible that he romps home. Trump obviously used this whole, they're trying to stop me, they're not going for me, they're going for you, I'm just standing in the way, very effectively. Look at France, but again, we said Marine Le Pen, it might look like she might actually be allowed back on the ballot because her deputy, Jordan Bardella, seems to be so popular and so successful without any of the baggage of Le Pen that they're realising, oh, hang on a minute, we've created someone even more popular now, let's undo all the lawfare that we've done and let Le Pen stand again, which is bonkers. And it's not limited just to politicians. You can look at the way, again, in France, the way that Linda Yaccarino, who was the chief executive of Twitter, and Elon Musk are now being attacked through criminal courts for algorithmic disruptions and things like that. I think whenever you use the law to go after what should be a public policy discussion, you cheapen the public policy discussion, you cheapen people's view of the law, and especially at a time in Britain when we've got all these concerns about two-tier justice going on, you're spending all this time going after Nigel Farage rather than the fact that we know, the intelligence services know, there are over 10,000 grooming gang rapists whose names we've got who are still going around at large because we haven't got prison places for them. Maybe we should prioritise a little bit better.
Could not agree more. Haven't got long this morning, but I do want to throw this at you, my friend. Lucy Powell, the deputy leader of the Labour Party, stood up and said that Keir Starmer had lost the dressing room, which is why we got rid of him. He said at the weekend, my plan was the best. I simply needed more time. I don't think it was right to have got rid of me. Still delusional, still missing the point, and off to NATO, where he's going to get a clip round the ear from Trump, by all accounts.
It takes a lot to make me think that Keir Starmer is very statesmanlike. It manages to happen every PMQs when Ed Davey stands up and opens his mouth, or whenever Zach Gladsky tries to do some maths. But I'm going to tell you that once we've had Burnham in for just a few weeks or months, Keir Starmer is going to look like a cross between Lee Kuan Yew and Winston Churchill and Pitt the Younger and Alfred the Great. By the way, we are the Anglo-Saxons, and it's the Norwegians who are the Vikings, and we need to get our revenge for Lindisfarne, and we need to show them what happened at Stamford Bridge and at Eddington and all those great battles when we beat the Norwegians. But I'm not sure that Andy Burnham is going to be a leader of the vein of Alfred the Great, I can tell you that.
Now, you don't know the next question, but you're such a consummate professional who I love as a friend. I'm going to ask you, as a professional political sort of advisor, what you would today be saying if a certain Prime Minister of an Antipodean nation rang you, because Anthony Albanese has apologised today because during a radio interview, the Prime Minister of Australia took part in a shag, date or marry competition and has got egg all over James. What? Well, James, I've got a bit of trouble here, mate. I was doing an interview, and a little interview. Do you like that accent? And this person was asking me about a shag, date and marry, and I got involved, and now I'm right on my arse, James. What do you do, mate? How'd you get out of that?
You double down on it. You say, look, I'm not going to be one of those politicians who refuses to answer. It's a bit of fun, and millions of Australians around the country are good sports. And of course, if it's shag, date, marry, those are all good options, right? It's not the more brutal version where you choose someone to decapitate. Come on. It's Australia. That'd be a very popular thing to do. And by the way, remember, of course, when certain scandals happen in fun countries like Australia and like in France, where Francois Hollande, who was a very boring, doer, fat little socialist, when his affair came out, his poll ratings actually went up in France, so I'm sure this will do no harm to our Australian brothers down
under. This is filling me with confidence, Christian. If we ever have a nightmare, JP's the first call we'll make. Thank you, my friend. Good lad. James Price, former government advisor. 22 minutes to 9 o'clock. We're live across the UK. And next, the only man you want to hear. The only man who will give you the absolute true synopsis of last night. Harry Redknapp next on Talk Breakfast.
across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. 20 minutes to 9. Christian's so rude about people like me and Harry because of our age. He said, I'm just trying to get him to sort out the technical side. I couldn't do that either. A bloody nightmare. It's like the flags. She's bought the England flags to the wife. I don't know how to hang them up, do I? What are you supposed to do with that? I'll have to get Sean round. What did you say, Mark? Yeah, get Yvette Cooper round. She knows all about that crap. Morning, Alan.
Morning, Jeremy. The girl from Swansea. Nigel Farage had that money for security. End of story. Move on. These lefties, right, control all the media. They're desperate to have something on him. That's all they got on him. Remember when Trump, before he got in, they were trying everything. What do you get in a massive landslide in America? Same with reform. 2 years, or hopefully less than that, reform will be in. People like me, right, normal people with a brain cell, right, what's going on? We're going to stick with Labour, no, Tories, Greens, Lib Dems, what the hell is going on, you know? We're going to vote reform regardless of what comes out or what they're going to dig on him, you know? So people keep the faith, stop reading these Mirror newspaper and these lefty BBC, stick to the facts and get our country back. End of story. Goodbye.
Ta-da! That's Christian's dad, which is always a pleasure. Ta-da! See you later, mate. Amanda in London. JK, all decent Brits are behind Nigel. We can see the hypocrisy coming from all the other parties. We are with you, Nigel. Don't worry about it. 0344 499 1000. Text to 87222. Listen, let's be honest. I sat up all night. I'm not sure if my next guest did, but this man, if you want a breakdown of that performance by England, we need none other than the man who should have been the England manager. Harry Redknapp, good morning.
Jeremy, good morning.
He's got the sandbags top on again.
I'm off to play golf today. I thought, I've got to keep wearing the gear, mate.
Where are you playing today? Remedy?
Well, I put up a round of golf. Charlie Magri, who was a world champion, came from the same housing estate as me in East London. And Charlie hadn't been so well recently. And Charlie, as I say, was a world champion and a great fighter, great man. And so I put up a round of golf at his charity day as an auction prize, and a couple of lovely golfers bought him. I don't know them, I've never met them, but there's 3 of them coming down today, so I'm playing golf with them today.
Good for you, Harry Redknapp. You're a legend. Mate, you managed all those games. I'm just a fan. I thought 61 tomorrow, that was the best England performance from the beginning to the end that I've seen in my lifetime, from keeping them quiet for 20 minutes to the breakaway goals, dealing with the red card, the penalties, every player throwing their body, Dan Burn at the end, the whole thing. I thought it was an absolutely amazing performance.
It was a great night, really. I mean, I stayed up I thought, can I make this all night, but there was no way I was going to go to bed and miss it once I started watching it. It was a great performance, just what we needed. We hadn't been playing well, and we were all saying, well, and then suddenly last night it all came together. Everybody played a part. The subs who came on and everybody. Gordon had a great game when we'd all been waiting for him to start performing. Bellingham again, Kane again. It was just an all-round. Everybody played their part.
When you look at that as an England fan and as a manager with the experience that you've got, did you know that was in there, mate, or were you surprised? Do you know what I mean?
No. I felt that we had better players than Mexico, there's no doubt. I mean, going into the game, the scary part was obviously the altitude, the home advantage in the stadium. They were the big problems that we were going to face. Man for man, they probably haven't got one player would get in the England team. So could we perform under them conditions? And we did. So it was a great night, great. And now we move on to Norway, which gives us a real chance to progress now. It really, Norway did great last night with Brazil, but again, man for man, we've got every chance of beating Norway. But so it's great. Everything suddenly changes. One game. It's like everything in football, Jeremy. You can be a manager, one result can turn it all for you, and hopefully that result will give the players the confidence we need to go out and go all the way now to the final.
I was telling the boys here, when I watched it at my in-laws, right, because the kids are up with my wife. I just sat at my home with a cup of tea or a glass of wine, and and I never, and you're going to laugh at me, I never had a moment's worry. I just thought it looked... I genuinely wasn't worried, even when they had to defend for 20 minutes. I don't know, because I'm usually on the edge of my seat. I just felt it was comfortable.
Yeah, everybody looked, everybody put their bodies on the line. The keeper was in great form.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just a real good all-round performance, and it was well worth staying up for, that's for sure. I'm sure the people who stayed up wouldn't have missed it for the world.
So Norway next Saturday,
yeah.
if they get through them, they're all going, oh, Argentina, they nearly lost to Cape Verde, for Christ's sake. It's opening up, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, every chance. We've got a great run. We've all seen Brazil went out, which I did. I'll be honest with you, Brazil haven't impressed me at all in the tournament. And Norway have done very well. They look like a team, so they're not going to be easy. And they've got Ireland up front, who, is another goal-scoring machine. So it's Odegaard, top player from Arsenal. But the rest of the team, they work and they play as a team. So it won't be an easy game again, but if we can continue what we showed last night, we've got a great chance.
Good man. And just, did you hear about Jordan Henderson?
Yeah, what a shame.
He's the only player never to have played in a game, but to have been booked and broken his wrist without even being on the pitch.
Yeah, I didn't see how it happened.
He fell over the advertising hoardings. They were all doing that, and he fell backwards. So I think he's coming home, isn't he? But I never saw him there. You'll laugh. You're a coach. I didn't see him there as a player. I saw him there as a voice in the dressing room.
Well, I don't know if you would, obviously he's a great character and, a good leader. He was at Liverpool. So, and Tuchel obviously has got faith in him and he loves having him around the place because what he brings is to the camp. So it is a shame, he's a good pro. I'm like you, I didn't really see where he was going to play. But, it's a shame it's finished like that for him.
Yeah, absolutely. But listen, a great result. Saturday, Norway, 10 o'clock Miami. But people who don't know, this legend, Mr. Redknapp, already today, has been up all night, off to play golf for a charity thing. Where are you playing? Do I say Remedy Oak?
Remedy Oak.
Yeah.
Remedy Oak, yeah. And Charlie, as I say, I grew up in the same block of flats on Badet Estate in the East End as Charlie Magri, who came over with his family. And I went to school with his brothers, Georgie, Joey. And he went on to be a world champion. My dad followed him everywhere. He used to carry his bag to York Court when he started as an amateur. So it was great I could put up a round of golf for the charity night that he had.
Good man. Listen, Harry, love to the family, mate. I saw Marky the other day. Great to have you on. Lovely sandbags top. Enjoy the golf, and we'll speak to you after Saturday in Miami, England, quarter-final of the World Cup against Norway. Are we doing an ad break, or are we going straight to it? No, we're going to... Oh, breaking news. Oh, my goodness. Push the button, please, for breaking news. Well. Prince Harry has, at the last minute, accepted an offer to stay at Buckingham Palace. The Duke is due to arrive in London later on Monday without Meghan and his kids. Oh. He's understood to be liaising directly with the King, with any plans to see each other made privately between them. And the reason that the King and everybody else has asked him to stay in Buckingham Palace is because nobody lives there anymore, because it's such a horrendous place, it's just used as an office. I don't mean to be rude, I'm only joking. 12 minutes to 9, 0344 499 1000. Let's go very quickly to the chairman of the Conservative Party, live outside Westminster, I believe, and I'm being waved at. No, he's at home. Kevin Hollinrake, how are you, my friend?
Morning, Jeremy. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Are you at home and not outside because you stayed up all night to watch the football, Kevin?
I did watch the end of it, which was amazing. Amazing performance. We're also proud of it, aren't we?
Do you know what's really interesting is, and you'd know this, because the Tories work round the clock, as we all do, there's so much bloody miserable news. It is quite nice, although everybody's walking around knackered today, it is quite nice that there's something good
Oh, my God. Dead right. And, the courage they showed, everything was against them, whether it be the altitude, be the history of that stadium, Mexico, home stadium, all those kind of things. Incredible effort. So proud of them.
We were joking earlier, saying you can just imagine if they do go on to win the World Cup, or even at Prime Minister's Question Time on Wednesday, Starmer was saying, we are responsible for England winning, aren't we? Kevin, absolutely. Let's talk a couple of stories. Obviously, the Farage story is big today, front of the Express. Nigel says this is a hit job. Certain media outlets, certain commentators, you guys have jumped on it as well. They're saying, no. If you haven't got something to hide, why didn't you declare it? I just had James Price on, who believes, as do others, that this could lead to a Clacton by-election if he's found guilty by the Standards Committee. However, I just want to throw a scenario at you. If that happened and the Reform voters came out in force and gave him a bigger majority, would that not fuel his case? Would that not fuel the Reform movement even more so?
I think that's irrelevant, Jeremy. This is about the rules applying to everybody equally. I mean, Nigel Farage was very critical, as we were, of Keir Starmer when he had his free glasses and his free suits and all those kind of things. He was critical of him because the rules are very clear. These kind of things must be declared and people can see people's motives and motivations, and that's why they're there. So Nigel Farage can't have it both ways. He can't basically hold others to account for this kind of stuff and then take a huge donation like £5 million, and then apparently more stuff he's been given for security and for social media, all this kind of stuff. And the reason those rules are there, of course, is to make sure everything's fair and above board and transparent. So our elections are fair and above board and transparent. These things are important. This is not about party politicking. This is about fairness and transparency and making sure that elections are also fair and transparent.
No, listen, I don't have to agree or disagree. I've got no skin in the game. Many people phoning this show this morning, some angry, many not. But you say it's not about party and politicking. Starmer, just out of interest, from your point of view as the chairman of the Tory party, the Lord Alifat, the £20 million condo in Covent Garden that he was there apparently so his sons could, what was it, study for their GCSEs because of the noise. What's the difference between that and Nigel Farage staying in George Cottrell's house somewhere near wherever it is, Westminster? What's the difference? The
difference is that Keir Starmer declared it, didn't he? He declared the gifts he received from Lord Ali. I mean, there was some confusion around his appearance in that particular flat. He says he didn't stay there. I don't know the truth behind that. But the reality is Nigel Farage has admitted he receiving these things. He admitted he received £5 million. He basically saying the rules don't apply to him.
Why do you think he didn't declare them, Kev?
He didn't declare them, did he?
No, but why do you think? Why?
Well, isn't this the point? Nigel Farage, when he is asked questions on this, and he hasn't been asked many questions because he's not appeared on the media very much since all this came to light, he's very defensive. None of your business. I don't have to declare this. It's a gift. These are outside the rules. We don't think that's right. We've referred it to the Parliamentary Standards Commissioner. He will then make a judgment whether it's right or not. And if he says it's all fine above board, then we can move on, can't we?
But do the Tories... I was going to ask you this last time we spoke, because I spent some time with Kemi at that party the other night, and it was fascinating, I have to say. Do the Tories... Is it a source of frustration, hear me out, at the moment, that your leader is really reaching out and cutting through, I think, in many ways? And I was super critical of it taking her a year to say anything, but I said to her the other night, you've called it absolutely right. Is it frustrating to see that the polls nationally aren't moving, but the popularity of Kemi Badenoch continues? And is this perhaps a moment, if Nigel Farage is vulnerable in any way? I don't know the truth of the story. As you said, it's been referred. Is this a moment where the Tory party, you feel and hope, could actually start to move forward in the polls?
Well, we are moving forward in the polls, but you're right to say Kemi's moving forward more quickly than we are. And that's what normally happens in these situations. We've got a big job to do to rebuild trust with the electorate. Now, people are seeing Kemi, they trust Kemi, they like her. As you say, she's the most popular political leader in the country today. But if you talk about the polls have narrowed significantly, as you probably acknowledge. And most importantly, the electoral results have changed. So the popular vote in 2025 at the May elections, local elections, Reform got 32 points. We got 18. This year it's 27 to 20. So we've halved the gap between ourselves and Reform, and the polls have narrowed more since then. So things are moving, but we have more work to do to rebuild trust. We've made many good things in 14 years, but we have some fundamental mistakes. We're holding our hands up to that. But I believe when people finally get the choice to vote for Kemi Badenoch, and they haven't had the chance yet, and indeed, or Andy Burnham, when they have that choice, I think lots and lots of people will vote for Kemi Badenoch, much more than showing in the polls right now.
Kevin, one final question. It's a text. Tracy says, can you ask Kevin this, please? If this was a Liberal Democrat doing what Nigel allegedly did, would the Tories still be reporting that person, or is it because it's Farage?
Absolutely right, we would. Any other political leader, any other, of course we would be reporting them to the Standards Commissioner. Can I just explain to that lady who sent that text? Parliament regulates itself. That's how it works. So it requires other members to say to the Parliamentary Standards Commissioner, we think there's something wrong here. That's what's happened.
Good point. Nigel, great. Always good to have you on. Nigel, Kev, I should say. Glad you enjoyed the football. Thank you very much indeed, as ever, for being on. Kevin Hollenrock, actually the chairman of the Tory party. What is it, 5 to 9? Very quickly, push that button. We'll go to the Sun.
90 minutes in 90 seconds. From the Sun.
Very good morning. 2 minutes only. Martin Blackburn, football writer of the Sun. All the coverage you want. How are you, son? Did you stay up?
I stayed up, Jeremy, a little bit weary this morning, but well worth staying up for. I mean,
how many beers did you have, Blackburn?
None, actually. None. I had tea and water, because I knew I was coming on here, Jeremy, I thought...
I just drank wine. Can I tell you, we're both on the wrong side of an age thing, but I've never seen a better England performance in my life. Fact.
I agree, Jeremy. I think it was one of the... Certainly one of the best that I can remember, possibly the best. When you think about everything that was against them, I mean, let's have it right, Jeremy. Mexico weren't going to win the World Cup, but that record they've got in the Azteca and everything that was against England, with the altitude, the home crowd, the sending off, the penalty, everything that went against them, and they stood up to it. And and now they march on to Miami. So it's a night that England fans will remember for a long time. And,
somebody, you know what it's like in the office in talks what they were going as they walked through. Oh, will it have taken out of them? And Gabby O'Bonnell said, no, they grow as a team. They've got 7 days to relax. It gives us renewed hope. I mean, Norway, Argentina look vulnerable against Cape Verde. I think England can make it to the final now.
Yeah, Norway. I think most people probably expected it to be Brazil, Jeremy. But Norway have been a real sort of dark horse in this tournament. Very well organised side, and the sort of side that have caused England problems in the past by sort of sitting in, if you like. And then of course they've got that guy up front, Erling Haaland. So, but let's just enjoy this one for now. Like you say, we've got sort of 6 days, I think, till the next one. And I think England fans will be dreaming. I think they will.
Great. Listen, thank you as ever, Martin, and all the gang at the Sun Sport. It's all a whole new ball game. That's the other thing we're going to talk about at some point, about bloody Trump, haven't we? Can I just say, please keep them coming. Fantastic reasons why you should be off work sick today. Morning, JK. Sorry I can't come to work today. I went to A&E last night. I've been diagnosed with football. It's a really painful one down there, and I'm walking like a orangutan, but the swelling should be down by tomorrow, and I'll be back at work. This is Talk Breakfast.
Current affairs, international news, letting criminals off while sending... Oi! You shut up! I'm trying to record something.
Stand by for 3 powerhouse hours of breaking news, challenging views. I don't give a flying damn about international law. I think people will viscerally reject this.
Across the UK. On DAB+. On YouTube. On your mobile. And on your side. This is Talk. Across the UK. On DAB+. On YouTube. On your mobile. And on your side. This is Talk.
Hello, my friends. Just gone 9. Where have you been, for goodness sake? We've been here since 6, celebrating that fantastic England victory against Mexico overnight, reaching the quarterfinals of the World Cup on Saturday, 10 o'clock in Miami against Norway. I just want to pay homage. Actually, we'll talk about everything. But I want to pay homage to TalkSport, our sister station. The coverage has been out of this world. It always is. But when it's a tournament like this, I guess it gets highlighted more. Somebody texted me earlier, several people, saying, you know, they hadn't been able to watch it on television. TalkSport is absolutely brilliant. I'm just going to play you a compilation of their bits from last night. This, you know those people who go, oh, you couldn't listen to football on the radio. You're joking. Have a listen to this.
A new chapter of Azteca history. Pele and Maradona have had their moments. England are about to have theirs. Saka inside the penalty area. Stands up a ball and a diving header is in. And England silence the Azteca with Jude Bellingham. And now England have robbed them of possession again. They'll try and bring it forward. It's Bellingham again. And he slipped it to his right-hand side. And he scored again. It's 2 in a minute. Oh, bring on the Norwegians in Miami. Jude Bellingham on the double. What an incredible minutes play that was for England. Free kick swung in, taking a touch, right-footed volley in. And Mexico are back in it. Quinones, he's off. Kwanzaa dismissed. This game's had absolutely everything. And that is the last thing England needed to go down to 10 men. How comes the goalkeeper? Could be a penalty to England. It is! Penalty to England. Harry, your country needs you here. You've got to put this away. Right-footed, he has! England lead by 3 goals to 1. Penalty to Mexico. Jimenez with a curvy run. He's going to run up and hit it right-footed. The crowd will tell you he scored.
Tuchel's got to earn his money down there now.
England have won! They've laid bare the curse of the Azteca. That is a massive step in this World Cup campaign.
So onwards to Saturday, Miami, 10 o'clock against Norway. And seriously, TalkSport, the only station you need. More info about that game. We also had a bit of fun, and we'll continue to have a bit of fun, because as a result of that, most of Britain is hungover. I know that's a sweeping generalisation. More people will take a sickie today than ever before in the history of the world. And we thought a bit of fun, like, what's the best excuse you've come up for a sickie? What's the best thing you've heard? You know, I mean, never before did I think I could start a breakfast show at 6 o'clock and go, the pubs have just closed. Have you had a good night? I mean, if you tell us in the next 55 minutes how you've supported, how your night's been, what you make of the whole thing. Morning, Wayne.
Hi, good morning, Jason. Oh, mate, I'm definitely not going to be into work today. I woke up about 1 o'clock, really anxious. And I went downstairs to get some water, and apparently, in my deliriousness and anxious, state, I accidentally drank a bottle of tequila, thinking it was water. Hey, I won't be in today. Hey, up the boys!
I love it. Somebody wrote in and said, it's very disrespectful to be talking about people taking sickies. I've got a small business, and if my staff don't come in, I'm going to go bankrupt. And I do, and I just want to acknowledge that that's true, because there is enough stuff going on against small businesses for me to be, but come on, England have won, you miserable git. Give them a day off. Laura Jane in Hampshire. Good morning, Laura Jane.
Good morning and happy birthday for tomorrow. You still haven't caught up with me age-wise, but never mind. I am furious. I said this in 2024. Somebody in the media are going to hound Nigel, and they are going to catch him out at some point. And here we are in the middle of this. The establishment are absolutely terrified. I went up to Makerfield all the way from Hampshire to help with the canvassing, and I didn't see a single sign saying Labour. They all said Andy Burnham. It didn't even, it was just unreal. I knew it was a fixed job. I knew it was. And I felt very strongly that Nigel is going to be hounded. Now, I appreciate these things. Parliament has rules and da-da-da-da-da. And I do think it's important, but I think that the establishment are going to get him. The media, not talk radio and the sensible ones, but they are out to get him. And this is outrageous that the two main parties are so frightened of those of us who want change. Change is good, and we do need to look at how the blob, we need a complete change in how our country's run, and it's so unreally, it's dangerous what they're doing to stop those of us who want to change. And all I can say is I've written a handwritten letter to Nigel today, which I shall post, to say, please hang in there for our sake, because we need change, and real change. I think Kemi is very good. I will give her that. But I don't trust them anymore. And I've voted Tory all my life. I had 2 Tory prime ministers in my family. So, there are a lot of them turning in their grave, including my father. But that is the way it is now. We need change. But it is frightening what's going to happen.
Let me ask you a question, Laura. And we try. And it's important to be as balanced as possible. The reason we have to cover this story this morning, it's everywhere. I have no skin in this game. I'm going to say that. I've got Isabel in a minute who will say the same, right? Here's what I don't get, right? If Nigel Farage has taken 5 minutes against the rules, then he's made a mistake. He's going to have to put his hands in the air, right? But there is undoubtedly, and you're quite right, a concerted effort to degrade, knock down, destroy, whatever, end the career of somebody who is obviously doing quite well in terms of the polls. But I want to ask you, as I want to ask everybody, would him receiving £5 million from Christopher Harborne, the crypto billionaire, mean that you don't vote for reform anymore?
Absolutely not.
And if Nigel Farage was no longer the leader of reform, would you still vote for reform?
Yes, I would.
And do you think that if the Parliamentary Standards Committee finds him guilty, I don't know if they will, Like me, do you... Well, I mean, this is what I think. I think he'll double his majority in Clacton. It will merely only do to incentivise even more the people who are fed up with the same party system and want Nigel Farage in power.
Well, I'll walk over to Clacton from Hampshire and help. I'm not standing for this, the way that the media think they can control the world, and that, you know, they just don't believe in us, the people. And I'm sorry, it's our turn now.
Interesting. Thank you so much indeed. Really appreciate it. Great interesting call there. Laura Jane in Hampshire, 0344 499 1000. Let's say a very good morning to, well, the legend, our international legend. Did she stay up all night and watch the football? Isabel Oakeshott, hello.
Good morning, Jeremy. I was up till 2 o'clock, but I am sorry to say I was not watching the football. I was late delivering on a deadline, and it was an essay crisis, and I just had to sit up, and then I was back up again at 7.
Did the best looking, not that I assume because you're married that you ever spend time together like that, but did the best looking MP in the House of Commons, male, did he stay up and watch the football?
Apparently he did. He was in London and I'm in the Cotswolds, but he said that he watched a good deal of it. I think the second half, he was full of it this morning, all the excitement of the game. It sounds honestly as if it was amazing.
What's the best sickie excuse you've ever heard or used to get a day off work, Isabel Oakeshott?
I've literally... I know this is going to sound really boring, but I have never pulled a sickie. It's just not who I am.
She's like the kid in the class that's just brilliant at everything.
No, I just love my job. So why would I do that? I love my job.
You've never ever said, you know, like at school, I wrote the essay, but I left it on the windowsill so it could dry because I was using an ink pen and it would have been all right, but a gust of wind blew it out and it would have been all right, but it landed in a puddle and the dog ate it. You've never done that? No?
Nope.
Let's talk Nigel Farage. There's a couple of other things as well, but we have to talk about a story that is on the front of many papers this morning. Farage says this is a hit job. I've done nothing wrong. Now, we have to be very honest, you and I. I've done some work for reform and will continue to do some work for reform. You're about to marry the deputy leader of reform, but we are also broadcasters who have to look at things dispassionately. I want to play you, if I can. I don't know if you heard it, but I'm going to play you because I thought it was brilliant. I had Poppy Coburn in earlier, and this was her take on it, Isabel. Have a listen.
Let's not forget, this Labour government began with Lord Ali's donation scandal, where a man who was donating directly to politically affected officials was allowed to pick the selection of Labour MPs who had great influence over the direction of the party. So he literally paid, I'm sorry, it seems like it, he paid and then he got influence. So let's put that on the table. Leaving aside even the Peter Mandelson job, where, again, another seriously unsavoury individual who actually had great political influence and was best friends with a paedophile. So there's Labour. They are turning around and now saying, Nigel Farage, look at him, look how dirty he is, look how dirty his party is. This is someone who's given up 25 years of his life to fight against the establishment, who has got more death threats than any other politician. You don't hear that in the news, seriously. If he has taken this money before he was an MP from someone where there is no suggestion whatsoever that he's changed his opinion, OK, Nigel Farage has been completely consistent politically
for 25 years.
For 25 years, as long as I've been alive. He's known this person, a friend of his, for a very long time. This is not cash for questions, this is not cash for access, OK? This is someone basically saying, you're a friend and I need to support you because the state isn't stepping in and you're getting death threats. He can do with that money as he pleases, frankly. All of the stories that the Times is breaking as exclusive this weekend and the BBC is running on as exclusive breaking news is already out there. We've known this for years. Why is it coming up now? Why is it being repackaged now as breaking news?
Isabel, that was Poppy Coburn from The Telegraph. I think eruditely putting it perfectly. Where do you stand on this situation with Nigel Farage?
Do you know what? I am so sick of this. What is Nigel trying to do? He is trying to save the country. Every day I speak, and I'm sure you do too, Jezza, you do multiple times on your show. We speak to people who are utterly exasperated with the state of our country, and they are desperate for someone like Nigel to fix things. They've had years of the Conservatives. The Conservatives had 14 years and they left the country a total mess. We've now got Labour and we've got a new Prime Minister coming in who is using all the wrong language about what he plans to do. No talk whatsoever of tackling illegal immigration, stopping the boats, making things better for people he's just harping on about, there being wriggle room to tax better off people yet more. So people are absolutely on their hands and knees wanting a political solution for our country. And what's coming at Nigel Farage, the one person that so many millions of people believe could actually change the course of our country, what's coming at him is just an absolutely relentless onslaught. Now, let me tell you, Jeremy, with my sort of reform hat on, because as you say, my partner is the deputy leader of the party. I'm not impartial on this one. We expected this.
Yeah.
We knew that the establishment would throw everything at us. What's taken us by surprise is the timing of this. Why is it happening now? We thought that it would probably come a bit later in the political cycle, but it is a mark of the desperation of Andy Burnham and his outriders and the Labour lot that they're doing this now because they are trying to kill off Nigel as this new Prime Minister comes in. The journalist behind these so-called revelations, Gabriel Pogren, he's a highly respected journalist. I'm not going to take anything away from that. He works for the Sunday Times. It's a great newspaper. They've got a fantastic investigations team. But this is a journalist who has publicly said, and I quote, "I despise the man." He despises Nigel Farage. And what he cooked up over the weekend was just a whole bunch of stuff that I don't think has been any secret to anybody. Everybody knows who's interested in this stuff that George Cottrell spent time in a US jail a very, very long time ago. He spent a few months behind bars. That's a big deal. I know it's interesting, but it was years ago. And he's been around Nigel ever since. And I know George, and I cannot think of anyone less self-motivated by trying to change, some piece of legislation or crypto law for himself. George doesn't need any help from anyone. He doesn't need anyone else's money. He doesn't need policy changes. Like Nigel, he truly believes that our country is heading for the buffers.
Yeah.
And he will do whatever he can to help change that. And if that means supporting Nigel by offering him the odd night sleepover in an empty flat, well, so damn what, honestly.
Well, this is my point, right? So I like you, I've worked with and continue to work with Reform, and separate from what I do here, we always try on the show to be as balanced as possible, but I'm not going to go all out in one way or the other, right? Here's what I want to say. There will undoubtedly be, Isabel, and this is you and I talking as broadcasters, OK? There will be some middle-of-the-road voters who will think this is a bit murky. But I am utterly convinced, and will say this to anybody and everybody, very Trump-like this, because what is going to happen is, let's just say, and Steve Baker said earlier, I think he will be found guilty by the Standards Committee and there will be a recall election in Clacton. And this is me now speaking. If that happens, I have absolutely no doubt that it will do even more to solidify Nigel Farage's support in Clacton and solidify still further, because one of the biggest problems that the political establishment have with Reform, and you're right, is the status quo is about to be crushed, whether that's next week or in 3 years' time. Because here's what's going to happen. The silent majority who refuse to be lectured by people anymore, they don't actually, in my humble opinion, give a toss if people are flawed. They want their country to be better. And we have been fed a succession of politicians who pretend to be something they're not. I don't know the ins and outs of whatever money or whatever favour. I don't. I know one thing, and Poppy's right. There is only one person who has consistently said things that many of us have only picked up on in the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, but this man's been saying this for 25 years. If I was advising Nigel, would I tell him to be on the front foot more? Absolutely. Trump was accused of every conceivable crime and he came out and he won a majority. Would I stand in front of my people if I was Nigel and say, there might be this, there might be that, but you know what I'm interested in? Stopping the boats, dealing with knife crime, having a bloody national grooming gangs inquiry, all those things that people who support Reform believe in. I don't know. Maybe he needs to look at his top team. Maybe he needs to distance himself from George Cottrell. Maybe he just needs to ignore it. But Nigel Farage is the person that millions of people in this country believe can bring them the change they want. And I think some in the media and some at the BBC want to be very careful what they wish for, because it happened in America and I can see it happening here. This morning, 2 people have said, oof, he's the rest of them. Thousands of the rest of them have gone, do one. That's just the establishment. We know what we want. So it's interesting, right?
Oh, it's more than interesting, Jeremy. I mean, there are things that I know that will come out in due course that would make your hair stand on end about the level to which this Kill Nigel operation, metaphoric Kill Nigel operation, goes. It is truly, truly disturbing. And what exactly are they trying to prove here? You know, we all know that Nigel Farage is not a standard issue politician that has spent his years carefully navigating, just not causing quite enough offence, appealing to the right people, calculating what's best for his career. That's not him. He's an instinct politician who is happy to have different characters around him, personalities, people who've taken a few risks in life, people that have built businesses. This is not a smooth, professional, coolly calculated kind of old political party. This is a disruptor that we're talking about here. And why? Not just for the sake of creating disruption, but because our country needs it. We need somebody who's going to do things differently, take some risks, be a little bit more colourful. And the establishment just cannot handle it.
Let me ask you some direct questions from your point of view. What does Nigel Farage do with his top team now? And does he have to distance himself from George Cottrell?
No, he doesn't have to distance himself from George Cottrell because nothing has changed. Everybody knows George's background. I happen to believe, and I think millions of good British people believe the same, that people deserve a second chance. His history is history. It's just that. It was a very long time ago. He was a very young man. You know, I was peripherally around George Cottrell at that time. In fact, I was on the very same plane as he was when he was met off the plane by law enforcement in the US. So I know that story inside out. He is a very, very different character today to the young man that he was then. And, you know, he has done so much for the Reform Party. Yes. Arguably, you know, Nigel would not be where he is today without the support of amazing, loyal friends like that. So what does Nigel need to do? Well, you yourself touched on it. He needs to face all of this down boldly, you know, not to be blown off course by these noises off, to be the best version of himself and to talk about what people really care about, which is not precisely how rich he is. I think we all know by now that he's done pretty well. And I don't resent that. Many politicians, particularly in the Tory party, are multi-millionaires. Who cares? What matters is what they're going to do and what they're promising voters they will do to fix the country. And I know that Nigel's been overseas these last few days on political matters. I'm sure that when he comes back, and I don't know whether he's landed back yet, he will be full frontal on this. And, you know, he will take up the fight. This is not somebody who is hiding away. This is somebody who is damn busy and has been, you know, doing what he does best over in the States, and will come back and face down these critics. And as so many people have said on your show today, Jeremy, if there's a by-election in Clacton, if there is, I would expect an army of Reform supporters to descend from all over the UK to support Nigel and return him with an even bigger majority.
Couldn't agree more. One final question, and it's a really interesting story, this, because other people will just do it in a certain way, but I wanted to get as many sides as possible. Do you think, knowing him, and I know him, he'll be concerned that he could lose some middle-of-the-road voters who might, as I said before, think this is a bit dark?
Well, I mean, Nigel's not a fool. You know, of course he's going to reflect on what impact this may have. Of course he's going to do that. But I think, as you said, so many people will see it for what it is. You can't please everybody. And I think that is the mistake that someone like Keir Starmer and other professional politicians has made. You know, they think that they can please everybody, trying to walk this tightrope. People are bored of politicians like that. They're bored of politicians that are whose approach is driven by what the latest focus group says, by what the opinion polls says about their latest policy, or whatever it is, whatever controversy they might be embroiled in. Nigel doesn't get too bothered by that. He has his views, he has his ideology, and he just cracks on.
Actually, very interestingly, listen to this from Keith in Nottingham. He says, morning, Jez, morning, Isabel. Didn't the Tories and Labour try and actually stop the local elections for 5 million people because they were running scared of what Nigel and Reform were doing? Very interesting, yeah. Listen, it's a story that will go and go. I'm with you. I think he needs to come out on the front foot. I think the British people, the millions that I know that support Reform, they don't care. I'm with you. That's not us either, Isabel or I, saying that if he's done something wrong, he shouldn't face the music. But it's a concerted effort. We get that. Sweetheart, thank you so much indeed. So you're in the Cotswolds now, are you?
Oh my God, it's so nice, Jeremy. Honestly, there's birds tweeting and hollyhocks outside.
Oh, they're not allowed
door.
to tweet. They'll be arrested. Sorry, it's a divisive. It's a divisive thing. Well, who is it? Lisa Nandy's leaving X now. By the way, one final thing, and this is quite funny. So I know sometimes you think I'm not funny. Have you seen the story about the Australian Prime Minister?
No, I like Australian politics, so what's that?
Anthony Albanese has been forced to apologise and is seeking redemption overnight because he did an Australian radio phone-in, and they convinced him, I don't think he knows, to take part in a shag, marry or date competition whilst on air. With 3 women from, presumably, that he knew, or from the cabinet or from the government. And Anthony Albanese is now in trouble. I just wondered what advice you'd give him from a PR point of view.
Well, I would say, I mean, oh my God, why is everyone so boring? You know,
yes, own it, Anthony. You're going to have the woman that he said he'd only date. What, she wanted to sleep with me? And the one that he wanted to sleep with, well, I'm not serious enough. You don't want to marry me? Oh, just have a laugh, all of you, for God's sake, no?
Yeah, come on. I know I've got myself all worked up today. I'm just so sick of this whole thing, and I know there's more to come because they just won't give up. But you know what, Jeremy? Nigel is going to fight back. He's going to face this down. And, you know, I just feel this story is going to end rather differently to how his haters expect.
Brilliant. Listen, great to have you on, my darling. Say good morning to the best-looking MP in the Commons, allegedly, and we'll see you very soon. Isabel Oakeshott talks international editor, sounding fantastic. 9:28. Morning, Tony.
Morning, Jezza. Yippee, yippee, yippee. We're through to the quarterfinals. How bloody wonderful is that? So that's a bit of good news, isn't it? Anyway, as far as Farage goes, I don't care what he's done because he's doing the right thing for us in the end. So who cares? I don't care where he gets his money. I don't care how many houses he's got. Maybe some of them MPs need to give up their houses and make them HMOs. That'd be funny, wouldn't it?
The thing that most makes me angry about Keir Starmer, talking about the need to defend our country, and he's gone out of his way to not make the tough decisions, to actually do the thing to defend our nation. It's cowardly, and I think it's treacherous.
Nothing to say on immigration, nothing to say on benefits, nothing to say on jobs, nothing to say on tax. Absolutely appalling. If this is the solution the country's been waiting for, then we are in a very, very bad place.
People up and down the country are asking why they are always being put second. They work every day, they get up, they pay their bills, they look after their kids, and yet the other side of the social contract is not being held up.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back, team. Julia from 10, Ian Collins from 1 and Kevin on Drive Time. Lining up for Talk today, the home of common sense and the home of the alarm clock. Brit's got half an hour on breakfast, 0344 499 1000. I don't know how. I've had no sleep. I'm full of it. No alcohol, no sleep. Just love in my hope in my heart. We've got Burnham. There is hope in my heart, I pray. Oh, Sky's bought ITV. Ha! Sorry, that was very cynical, wasn't it? Glad I kept my shares. 0344 499 1000. Hi, JK. I am 81. And like Isabel, I've never taken a sickie. I think I only took one day off school from 5 to 16. I was brought up with principles, says Pam. These are sadly lacking now. I agree. Linda Whittingham. If it's fair, then the government should pay for Nigel's security, says Linda in Stalybridge. Ian's in North Wales, is it? Good. Good morning, Jess. Farage should say that this £5 million he will donate to charity if he becomes Prime Minister to get security for life. Robert Morris, Big Nigel has a massive target on his back. Establishment hate him with a vengeance because they're scared. He will end the gravy train and they know it and they don't bloody like it. Loads of you still. Jez, I just cannot see the attraction reform, or is it the party called Nigel Farage who never voted for a figurehead? I need policies and there are none that I can see from that party, says Serena. Ruth Baker, good morning. The thing is, Jez, Farage might have 10 ohms, 5 ohms, but he's also living rent-free in most people's head on the left. That's a very interesting talk. Ruth Baker, morning, Jez. She's put jazz. I'm sorry to put a dampener on things, but do you not think England might have peaked too soon? Oh, for God's sake, that is so English. Probably. Isn't it? Talk, says Andy in Northampton. It's funny, when Farage fell out with Elon Musk, he said he couldn't be brought, but that suddenly got dropped by MSM. The establishment will try anything to keep Farage out of number 10. The Electoral Commission didn't investigate the Lord Alley donations, and Starmer was in politics. Apparently he declared them, though. Michael, good morning. Perhaps Farage should use some of his gifted money to hire a top investigation team to expose establishment corruption and scandals. They don't like it up 'em. Ooh, Mrs. Morning, Jazza. What is this? Have you been missing an A for an E? Sean of Cheshire, or Sean of Cheshire? All this smoke and mirrors again being aimed at Nigel, it won't change my view nor my voting intention. Could the Farage problem be in the press now because Burnham will call an early election and the Sleaze Brigade and the Labour Party are mudslinging already, says Jackie. That's interesting. Kelvin's in Cheadle. Have you been to Cheadle? Lovely. Another nasty attack on Nigel Farage by the dirty left wing. They're like a bad cold. They have no policies to offer the country that keep reform out. So they go with dirty tactics as usual. People who support Nigel, if they're true believers, won't believe this garbage. What is it? 9:33. We are live across the United Kingdom. Helen, good morning.
Morning, JK. Helen in Knutsford here. Yeah, Isabel's so right. It's like everyone's trying to find any excuse, some spanner in the works, nitpicking, trying to hold Nigel back. Well, we need reform. We do need change. He'll get there. Yeah, like you said earlier on, it's probably kind of a sign, a good thing in a way, that, oh God, like he's a big, massive threat. Let's try and think of anything to stop him. Well, he won't be stopped. I'm pretty sure he won't. I hope not. Anyway, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday for tomorrow, JK. Happy birthday to you. Woo! Hey, we won. You see, things are looking up.
What a voice. Hasn't she got a voice, old Helen? I mean, old Helen, not as old as me, obviously. She's probably young. 25 to 10 now. we had some... I just want to... Because I'm going to get my favourite guest on in a minute, who's honestly madder than me. We had some breaking news an hour ago. Let's just play the breaking news thing. This was an hour ago. Breaking news, people. Prince Harry will not... No, Prince Harry has it... Oh, Jesus. Anyway, an hour ago, they said Prince Harry has accepted an offer to stay at Buckingham Palace. He's been dealing directly with the King. Meghan's not coming. I'm not coming. I don't feel safe. Don't know if she sounds like that. Kids aren't coming. He's coming. We've had some breaking news in the last 3 minutes, though. Apparently he's not staying at Buckingham Palace because he did not give the royals enough notice despite accepting the offer. Now, that was on the Mail. Before... I haven't got a bloody clue what's going on, but I'll tell you who has also got much more of a knowledge about what's going on is the legendary royal biographer who's done her hair especially nicely this morning, Angela Levin. Good morning.
Good morning.
Right, first up, now let's get to the point. Did you stay up last night?
No, what, to see the football?
Yeah.
I'm afraid not, no.
I could have seen you with a Dubonnet in one hand and a cigarette in the other and a holder.
My husband did, but I went to bed.
Oh, was he excited? That didn't sound right.
Yes, he was surprised. He didn't think they would win at all.
Did he wake you up this morning and go, Ange, we won?
No, he wouldn't do that.
No,
I'm fast asleep.
Oh, there you go. Now, Angela Levin, I'm slightly confused. I mean, this drama, this bloody psychodrama with Harry and Meghan has been going on for a couple of weeks. Will they come? Won't they come? Are they coming at the weekend, we heard? She's now not coming with the children to London, in brackets, but she might go to Diana's, the late, great Diana's memorial in Althorpe, right? So... presumably, she doesn't need security in Northamptonshire, but she needs it in London. That's another debate. Then this morning, we come into work, and an hour ago, we hear that Prince Harry has accepted an offer to stay in Buckingham Palace, offered to him by the King, which I jokingly said is... They've probably offered him that because nobody else stays there anymore. But we've just heard 5 minutes ago that the Mail have just said that he's not staying at Buckingham Palace because he didn't give the royals enough notice despite accepting their offer. Please shed light on this madness, Angela Levin.
Well, I think he's playing tricks, actually. The more he could make it look that, one, the King is not helping him at all, two, that he doesn't like the staff there, so he's making it extremely difficult to make things muddle things up for them. I mean, it is too disgusting for words. And I think that, well, he wants people to think that the King is not very important and he's more important. He and Meghan are much more important to get people to do what they want. And if they want to go here or they want to go there 5 minutes later, somewhere else, absolutely, because they're so important. I just think it's a child trying to pretend that something about him is important. Is not anymore. Nobody's interested in him anymore. Very few people like Meghan, unless she's going to sell her jam or no honey, isn't it, this time?
Oh, is it honey?
That's what she's going to do. And I think that it's disgusting to do it. Absolutely.
Well, it's really interesting because somebody said to me the other day, actually, which was really interesting, they said, oh, we're very... I tell you what I'm anti. I'm anti the manipulative duplicity. I'm anti the psychodrama. So I go, right, so if I'm Prince Harry, I've made my bed, fine. My wife, California, but I love my dad. I'm never going to get back into the position I was, but I'm just going to go and see him because he's got cancer, but I'm not going to make it such a... It always has to be so public. We know, don't we, that the royal family don't trust a word isn't going to be let out, so none of them want to spend any private time with Harry and Meghan because they think it'll be in the papers in a heartbeat. But the thing that really surprised me, I'm going to take her out of the equation and concentrate on him for a minute. I cannot believe his naivety, Angela, that he's still... I mean, we had a situation last week where they were saying, oh, he nearly cried because he feels so let down. The truth of the matter is, he's that stupid and thick that he cannot see that even, again today, he will, he won't, he will, he won't. The British people are fed up to the back teeth because they see him as entitled and arrogant and, frankly, sorry to upset everybody, a pain in the arse.
Yes, but also, why should he take our money to pay for him to go round and have a nice time? They want to go and spend 2 weeks going round the UK. Well, that's his business. I don't want to pay from my money, what he wants to do. I used to really, really like him. In my 15 months of being with him to write his biography. I liked him hugely, and he's now just a wreck and awful. And what he wants to do is to win these things where he is going to go on and on and on and on until he sees his father, and on and on till he can rush around to the BBC and do another interview, which he did most.
They don't trust him, the royal family, do they? They don't trust him or her at all.
Well, they can't, because they have said, I mean, I know the king said to him, please do not, please make this between us, not anybody else. And he went straight off round to the BBC and complained about him. Now, you know, why should you talk to him? I just think the king's got to give it up. Camilla is very good at helping him, but saying don't actually do too much, because he might disappoint you again. Here it is, you know, are you in, are you out? He's a king, he's got things to do. He can't just suddenly write in his book that, oh, must have my son here. You know, he's trying to pretend he's got some power.
I do think we have to make the point. We made it last week. I get where the king's at, okay? I get that he's older and he's got cancer, and he probably, on a one-to-one level, wants to, I don't know, put that to rest or have his say or whatever. But I suspect he's also intelligent enough to know, or if he isn't, he's certainly got William and his wife Camilla, who are not scared to tell him the truth, that this kid, this Harry, and I've heard all the, you should feel sorry for him. No, you make your bed, you lie in it. This morning, again, just to throw my show into turmoil, Prince Harry accepts an offer to stay at Buckingham Palace, say his sources. Then the palace go, well, actually, he's not staying here because they haven't let us know. Even that, and if you want, this is my other thing, Angela, without losing my head. He goes on and on about security and how difficult it is to bring his kids here. Then why the hell do you keep releasing your plans to the press at every toss and turn? Because that's half the issue, isn't it?
Yes, it's the king would obviously like to see the two little ones, because, you know, they're his children, grandchildren. Yeah. But you can't do that with someone like Harry. Harry wants extra special.
Has he always been like that, Angela?
No. I think it's Meghan nagging him beyond anything. And I think she screams and cries, that she did before she left the royal family. And I think that she just wants it all herself. And I think it's too disgusting.
Is she a narcissist in your mind?
Well, I'm not anybody who's a doctor or anything. I don't know. I just think she's awful in my mind. Let's do that. But with the children, apparently they were jumping about, really happy, so happy to see their grandfather. You know, well, they're not. Why do that for a child if they've done it? Apparently, they kept on telling them all about it. So it's very upsetting for a child.
This is the bit I don't. But Angela,
or they couldn't care less.
Why are we having, not you and I? Why is, you know, all this, are they coming over, we haven't got enough security? She thought the British royal family was racist. So why are you even bothering to come, love? Why don't you do one?
Because she wants to sell her jam and her honey. That's it.
Jam and honey. Listen, this is just in from the Daily Mail. Another update on Prince Harry, who said, well, his people said he's staying at Buckingham Palace. The Daily Mail understands that despite repeated requests for clarity, no formal response from the Duke and his family had been received by the necessary deadline at the end of last week, because he's flying in today, and I don't mean to be rude. Buckingham Palace, I mean, I like a bit of hoovering, a bit of dusting, but you've got to get that palace well sorted, and they haven't got it. The Times is reporting that the Duke of Sussex will stay at Buckingham Palace during his visit to Britain, but that's now been denied by the palace. Within just over 24 hours until the trip begins, there appears to have been a breakdown of communication between him and his father. Oh, surprise, surprise. This is all at their door, Angela, all at their door.
Yes, it's the front. They want to be in the front of papers, but everybody's fed up with it now. And the one thing, of course, which is tomorrow when he's trying to get whether he's going to get lots of money against the Mail. And the difficulty there is that they've told him so many times he can't have this, he can't have that, but he keeps on trying to get it. And he's going to go straight back and try and get more money out of the the newspaper for actually interviewing in his life.
Here's an interesting one for you. So you wrote his biography, you were with him for 15 months. Let's just say that you get a call on an unknown number and you pick it up sometime tomorrow, and it's Harry, and he's crying, and he says, Angela, I've messed up, I need your help. What would you tell him?
I'd tell him, you're being very silly, and I don't think it's you. You've put someone else on. I know he's been cross with me. But
is he? He's cross with you, is he?
Well, he was cross that I actually say that he's behaving very badly. I've been told that. Well, I think that he is behaving very badly, and I take no notice of anything like that. But I just think that he's a very sad person, and he can't actually look after himself. Now, if he was coming with the children, which was going to happen a week ago or 2 weeks ago, how could he go if he is taking drugs? If he's got to go with 2 children, he must have a nanny. So that's 3 people who've got to look after everybody. And so it's never going to happen. So I thought it would...
Is he still taking drugs, did you just say?
Well, he's not very good at it at the moment. A lot of people think that he is very stretched and unhappy. And I've told from a good source, but I'm not 100% sure. But he doesn't seem to be able to control himself. You know, we saw 2 weeks ago when he was shouting that he wasn't going to come. He was shouting that he wanted to have protection. But actually, you know, the next day he was all right. He's coming over.
You mean you say his behaviour's up and down?
Yes, his behaviour.
Is that whether? I mean, listen, it's not for me to make any accusations, but I suspect. I don't want to give away too much detail, but I'm a similar situation once in my life. If you have somebody in your ear the whole time, nagging you constantly, you've got to get this, you've got to get that, you're the one that isn't treated right, your brother gets more than you, blah, 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 blah. It's probably difficult to breathe sometimes. She's undoubtedly... It's really, really important that people understand. You know, some days, right, I'm so angry about it. Some days I feel very frustrated. I don't know. I go with what the old man said to me, and you know what he used to do? He said, she'll be back with 2 kids. It's never going to work out long term. He'll be back. She'll be out there with 2 kids. So essentially, just before you go, Prince Harry will not stay at Buckingham Palace because he didn't give the royals enough notice. I wonder how long it is. How long it is before the Sussex relief statement's going, we've been denied access to Buckingham Palace because you hate us.
Yeah, but you're right. But he's done this several times of not letting them know in good time. And he knows that he has to give the dates early because they have a lot of things to do. Yep. And so if he's doing this at the last minute on the same day, they're not going to have it. They don't have the staff. They don't have all the things ready for him. And he's just doing it on purpose to try and show himself as a very poor, you know, not looked after.
Me. Angela Levin, we love you. Thank you so much indeed, as ever, for coming on. The legend that is Angela Levin. What is it, 12 minutes to 10 o'clock. We're live across the United Kingdom. Can I just say, it's really important, Angela Levin made a claim about Prince Harry's drug taking. There's no evidence to support that claim. She talked about a source. That's not an opinion this station has. This was an opinion of Angela that she made, but there is no evidence to support that claim as we stand. 12 minutes to 10, back in 3.
Across the UK. On DAB+. On YouTube. On your mobile. And on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back to breakfast. 10 to 10 live across the United Kingdom. But Julie Hartley-Brewer is here from 10 o'clock. 0344 499 1000. What are you waking up to? You're waking up to the news that England are through to the quarterfinals of the World Cup. Mass celebration. The pubs were open until 5. Many people have thrown a sickie. We've had a bit of fun. We've also had serious stories as well today. Keir Starmer said, "My plan was the best. I got elected. You just didn't give me enough time. See ya. Don't want to know you." That didn't even rhyme. Nigel Farage in the spotlight as well today. Another donation story over the weekend. Many of you saying, "I don't care what's happened. This is an establishment cover-up or an attack on him because of how popular he is." Many of you say he needs to be on the front foot, coming out and saying his piece. Morning, Jane.
Morning, JK. Come on, England. Nigel Farage, serious business. Got to get him in number 10. As far as I'm concerned, we watched it all play out before the US general election. The mainstream media, the BBC, ITV, you couldn't get Donald Trump off the TV. He was being called this, he was being called that, and it didn't work that time, and it won't work this time.
See, that's my point. Actually, have you got... Yeah, we spoke to Poppy Coburn earlier, and her point about all of this was that... it's a bit hypocritical, but as I said to her, and I'll say repeatedly throughout the programme, it's not for me. I don't know what happened in terms of donations. I've always talked on this show about, you know, Alarm Clock Britain and the silent majority. And from what I've discovered over the last few months, and certainly from this morning, the silent majority just want a politician who does what they say they're going to do. They don't care if they've got flaws. They're sick to death of the establishment trying to score points. However, if you put yourself in that position, you're going to have to accept the stuff that's thrown at you. So it'll be interesting to see how Nigel Farage responds. Isabel Oakeshott said he's going to come back and he's going to get on the front foot. That would be, I think, the ideal thing to do. But there are many, many people who are incredibly supportive, and there will be people who are critical. So we'll see. 0344 499 1000. Just to fill you in with the breaking news, if you tuned in, we heard an hour ago that Prince Harry is going to stay in Buckingham Palace when he arrives today. And a few minutes ago we found out he's not, because he didn't respond in time. So basically they've essentially said you can't stay in Buckingham Palace because he didn't respond quick enough, which just about sums it all up. Let's go to Herbie. He drove the fastest... Oh, that was Ernie. Anyway, Herbie's in Harrow. That rhymes.
Good morning.
Harrow,
yes,
Herbie,
good morning.
hello.
How are you, Jeremy?
Not bad.
Listen, how much more are they going to dig out about this man, what he done years ago? They're going to go back to his childhood when he was a baby and did this and did that, for Christ's sake. When's it going to stop?
Does it affect, on a serious note, I'm really interested. So, are you a Reform voter, supporter? Does this, if it Nigel Farage gets £5 million from Christo Hayborn and the story about George Crotchley, his right-hand man, blah, 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 does that affect what you think about Nigel Farage and Reform?
Not at all, because I was a candidate as well, Jeremy, and I will stand for Reform again, because the man speaks to the people and he speaks the language that they want to hear. Look, if this was given to him by a friend. Look, we said before, if somebody gave me $5 million, I'd say thank you very much, it'd be straight down to the bank. And so what? You know, what's it to do with anybody? What if you won the lottery? They're going to question that, or you won something on a scratch card? They're going to question that. Are they going to question everything Nigel does? Yes, they are, because they are too scared of the man for what he stands for.
Interesting. Thank you so much indeed. Herbie, Tash in Bexhill, it's the best text of the morning. She said, I celebrated the footy and went home. I got to the bottom of the stairs. I took off my shoes. I took off my top. I took off my trousers. I was only in my underwear. I crept up really quietly. It was only when I got to the top of the stairs I realised it was on the bus. Oh, I love it. It's like the story about the bloke who went to the, in the local, was that Jethro joke? He said, I went to the what's it called when it's steam room? And he said, and I took all my clothes off, I sat in a chair, and he said, when the steam went, that was an fish and chip shop. 0344 499 1000. Who are we going to? Let's go to Anna. I can't read it. Gwyneth. Hello, Anna in Gwyneth. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
All right, my love, we've got 1.5 minutes. Did you watch the football? Did you stay up? Did you have a lager?
No, I don't like football at all. I'm not interested. But one of the things I was thinking, when they first did the team, a few weeks ago, all the papers were criticising the manager for putting all these players in and leaving all these players out, and all the media were crucifying the bloke. I wonder whether they'll phone him up or write in the papers, "We're sorry we said that about you because you obviously know what you're talking about."
What do you think about the Farage news?
I think that the man has been pro-British or pro-English for years and years and years. And if he's got friends who are going to give him some money to help him put this country back together again, the best of luck to him.
It's interesting, isn't it? Does it put you off voting for reform because of that?
No, because I think we need somebody totally new. And yes, he doesn't come over as two-faced, and he doesn't come over as a lie. He might be, I don't know. But I think what he's trying to do, when he was in the EU, he was always pro-British.
Yep, it's absolutely
and that's
true.
what we want.
Really, really good to have you on. Thank you so much indeed, Anna in Gwynedd. And thank you all. Just seriously, amazing response this morning. Whether it was a sickie call or a football comment or what you did in the pub or a comment about Farage or Starmer, really appreciate it. 0344 499 1000. Julia Hartley Brewer will take your calls from 10 o'clock. That is on the way on Talk.
We've got some breaking news that has just come in. TalkSport have announced a brand new partnership in a developing story. We hear they've created So Good Lager right in time for football's big summer. Just in, we're hearing that So Good Lager will be pouring pints across all O'Neill's pubs and some of the best sports pubs across the UK. With the big kickoff just around the corner, you can find out where to get your hands on a fresh pint of So Good Lager at talksport.com/lager.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back, my friends. Couple of minutes to 10 o'clock. Thank you so much indeed for listening. Breakfast back tomorrow from 6. Julia is here from 10.
I am. You know, as bleary-eyed as the rest of the nation.
What time were you up?
No, we went for the... I spent too long getting up at 4 o'clock to be able to go to sleep at 4 o'clock. So we went for the getting up early, watching it as live. Did not pick up the phone, nothing. Literally watched it with no information.
Oh, so you watched a recording?
Yeah, I recorded it and then just watched it as live. But you can fast forward through the sodding hydration. Absolutely brilliant. We may have woken some neighbours. There was a little bit of shouting here and there. I mean, it was such a stonking match. I would be gutted if I hadn't seen the whole thing. You know, I watched it.
I don't think you'll get a more perfect